locations. physioextra.com.
Beaches have been closed in Sydney's east after a man was mauled to death by a shark. A fisherman raised the alarm late yesterday afternoon after seeing the swimmer dragged under the water. Shocked beachgoers stood helpless on the rocks around 30 metres away.
Someone just got eaten by a shark. Big great white, that's a great white. Oh man, oh no, oh no.
The swimmer suffered catastrophic injuries and couldn't be saved. It's Sydney's first fatal shark attack in almost 60 years. The price of meat is up. The lack of supply and increased demand is driving up costs. Meat and Livestock Australia's Managing Director Jason Strong says while it's good news for producers, the prices are being felt at the checkout.
Across the high end, we're talking, tens of dollars. They've gone up per kilo. In some cases, it might be 20 or 30%. But across other products, so minces and those everyday items, it's a much smaller increase. But it's still 5, 10, 15% in some cases. So it's definitely been an increase.
Volunteers at this year's Clean Up Australia Day will count how many single-use face masks they pull from the environment. It comes amid concerns Australians are not properly disposing of their masks. But Clean Up Australia Day Chair Pip Kiernan says masks aren't the only problem.
Unfortunately, over the last 2 years, our habits have changed. We have had a surge in single-use items, so whether it's coffee cups because the cafe won't take the reusable one, masks, takeaway packaging, sanitised wipes. The proportion of these do end up as litter, unfortunately.
Mining giant BHP is pushing ahead with a COVID vaccine mandate, leaving up to 700 employees in danger of losing their job. The company's updated policy came into effect on January 31. There's a new scandal involving the royal family. This time, police are investigating Prince Charles's charity. Nine's UK correspondent Brett McLeod has more.
Scotland Yard has revealed they're looking into the Prince's foundation after media reporting alleging offers of help were made to secure honours and citizenship for a Saudi national. A former aide to Prince Charles quit as chief executive of the charity after claims he was at the centre of the effort to help a Saudi billionaire donor. Clarence House says Charles has no knowledge of the alleged offers and the charity has offered full cooperation. The timing couldn't be worse for the royal family, coming a day after Prince Andrew's multi-million-dollar settlement in a sexual assault lawsuit.
NATO says there is no sign of de-escalation by Russian forces on the ground near Ukraine. Moscow had promised earlier this week it was pulling back some of its troops. Now drills in Crimea have ended. Now to 5AA Sport, and it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football. Adelaide's internal trial match tomorrow won't go ahead with 16 players ruled out because of COVID, being close contacts or through injury. Fitness boss Darren Burgess telling Rowie it was a common sense decision.
We just made the decision in the best interest of the team long term is to cancel Friday's session as a sort of official internal trial due to a combination of factors, really.
Still on footy, and Western Bulldogs captain Ellie Blackburn says it's unrealistic AFLW athletes don't become full-time. The AFL wants the competition to be the highest paying women's sport in Australia by 2030. However, a majority currently earn about $20,000 a season. Blackburn says it's something they'll be pushing for at upcoming negotiations with the AFL.
Definitely a discussion that is happening amongst the playing group and with the Players Association when it comes to the contract negotiations that are coming up. But it's definitely on its way there.
Michael Neser has been ruled out of the Tour of Pakistan with injury. The Aussie Quick suffered a side strain in Queensland's Marsh Cup loss to the Blues. In the A-League last night, Western Sydney has beaten the Melbourne Victory 2-0, while Wellington had a 3-0 win over the Brisbane Roar. And in European Champions League, there will be more action on this morning with Inter Milan taking on Liverpool, while Salzburg will come up against Bayern Munich. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Cloudy for your Thursday with a top of 25, partly cloudy tomorrow 24, Saturday sunny 26. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
5 minutes after 6, good morning to you and welcome to Thursday on 5AA Breakfast. Thursday's Matt Abraham Day. Saturday, we're 4 weeks out from the South Australian state election. Matt Abraham will take you through the spin of the last week Also coming up on the program this morning, we'll flash back with Michael Smith. We're going to speak with the boss of Gluttony about what's coming up for Adelaide Fringe. It's almost Fringe season. The first part of the year goes exceptionally quickly, I find. And there's a lot of news to sink our teeth into right across Adelaide, Australia and the world over the course of the morning. We love you being part of the conversation. 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. It certainly does go quickly. I was thinking about the other day. We've been back for 5 weeks. This is week 5, isn't it?
Yeah, it must be. Yep.
Which is as long as our summer break. So we've...
Bizarre, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just flown. It's flown along. And I don't know, it's funny. I always have this genuine sense of dread at the end of the holidays. I think, work, I've got to get back into the routine. And the depression sort of starts, I'm not being frivolous about clinical depression.
No.
But that sort of sense of ennui, that sense of, got to get up early.
The return to work blues, the alarm clock.
Yeah, all of that. Mm. But then I find the moment I get back to work, I think, well, this is actually quite a fun job. Yeah. Like this is better than,
but I reckon, because
working on an oil rig or something like that.
But isn't it because we, as humans, misdiagnose the problem? It's not necessarily that you've got to go back to work. It's that you go from a state of total freedom to one where you've got responsibilities and places to be.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
Because it's just the idea that, well, I could be doing whatever I want tomorrow when I'm on holidays, but then in a week's time, you won't have that choice.
One of the really nice things about working, I think, is that the weekend becomes genuinely exciting. Because when you're on holidays, and I always sort of think, because, the holidays are great, but it's always like the sort of Thursday or Friday before they end, we think, I've only got 3 days left.
Yep.
And you spend a bit of that weekend, people say, when are you back at work? And you're like, Monday.
Yeah.
It's like, whatever. But, world's slightest thing to whinge about. So you don't really feel like the last few days of your holidays count in a way. But when you're working, like today's Thursday, so you go, tomorrow's Friday.
Beautiful.
Weekend. How good's that?
Yeah. The psychology, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's weird how your mind works.
It's an oddly mild morning right across Australia today. Mild in the sense that, it's not cold, it's not hot, but everyone's sort of hovering in the same band. It's 16.8 degrees outside at the moment. Where do you think 16.8 degrees ranks us amongst capital cities this morning? Among the 8 capital cities that the bomb has on the front page.
I don't know.
Where would you typically think in February, 16.8? We're the second coolest capital city in Australia this morning.
Really?
At this point in time, yeah. Canberra's 13.4, but everywhere else is above 17. But outside of Darwin, which is obviously an outlier at 24.7, everything's, between that and 21.
Imagine being the weatherman in Darwin. Quite a boring job, wouldn't it?
It really would be. No, because
so
you get cyclones and things.
Well, I suppose the cyclones, that's about the only variation.
So sort of day-to-day forecasting would be a real drudge.
Minimum of 24, maximum of 33.
Yeah.
Humid.
Geez, you'd be tempted.
Humid, possible late storms.
Post it early and knock off, wouldn't you?
I think that's how they roll in Darwin, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's what everyone
right.
does.
Exactly right.
I think the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court, Premier, everyone's on the terps at all times. Have you been to Darwin?
Have been. I was there in the middle of last year.
It's such a good place.
I got stuck there. One of the, I just routinely get stuck places now.
Remember, that's right.
Went into lockdown.
That's right. You were locked in your hotel room in Katherine, weren't you, for a couple of days?
Well, we weren't. We were locked out of Darwin, bizarrely, because the rest of the Northern Territory wasn't in lockdown. But our accommodation was back in Darwin, so we were trying to dodge lockdown by just driving to random places that had vacancies. It was a truly bizarre holiday. But it was great. Beautiful.
Cool.
Yeah. Just make everyone should
Did you go to Kakadu?
Yeah.
How good is Kakadu?
Yeah, fantastic.
Did you see those giant
We
birds?
spent the entire team in all the various national parks.
Did you stay in Jabiru?
Yeah, no, we were just out of Jabiru. Yeah.
We stayed in that hotel that shaped like a crocodile.
Yeah, right.
It was so much fun.
No, we were in the caravan. We're in a caravan park there.
Oh, that really good one. The one.
Well, it was all right.
Oh yeah, no, we were actually we had some friends who were staying there. Went and hung out with them for a while. It was great.
10 minutes after 6, 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line as well. We've got some news headlines coming up for you in just a moment.
5AA's Tech Talk with your host, Adelaide Tech Guy Richard Pascoe. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
People's personal details are being offered for sale by cyber criminals. How do you know your personal details aren't on the dark web already? Do you know what the dark web is? You can't log on to the dark web and you can't see who's trying to hack your ID. But Norton can. With a Norton 360 Premium subscription, you get automatic dark web monitoring. If personal details like bank account info or your home address are detected, you'll get immediate notification and advice on what action to take. With Norton 360 Premium, you also get multiple device protection with a secure VPN, real-time threat protection, smart firewalls, parental controls, SMS protection and more. Buy Norton 360 Premium online or in-store at Harvey Norman from $78.
Check out this great offer at FIVEaa.com.au. Thanks to Harvey Norman Computers.
Wavell Mitsubishi and Southern Mitsubishi have amazing deals on new, demo and used vehicles with over 250 cars arriving between now and the end of Feb. The only problem is we need to make room for the rebuild of the Wavell Mitsubishi showroom, so every car must go. All new Mitsubishi cars come with 10 years warranty and 10 years capped price servicing. Get in touch with the team at Wavell Mitsubishi and Southern Mitsubishi, located in Morphett Vale, driven by Australian Motors, LVD 80.
She's like bang.
Explore Australia's biggest arts festival at Adelaide Fringe from the 18th of February to the 20th of March. With over 1,000 shows, act now and get your tickets. Supported by principal partner Bank SA. Search Adelaide Fringe today.
Sun-kissed beaches, legendary cities, ancient ruins. Return to travel with the destination experts Phil Hoffman Travel and Holland America Line. Sailing 5 oceans and experiencing 7 continents for almost 150 years. Holland America Line is the perfect cruise line for explorers, foodies and music lovers. Explore Europe on amazing cruises. Hurry, limited time offer, only $99 deposit per person. Phil Hoffman Travel, proudly South Australian and here for you. Visit pht.com.au.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
13 minutes after 6. We owe our stats man Ben Jordan, I don't know, some sort of bottle of wine or a gift. Not sure what he's into, but he's into stats. We know that much because he's got his summer summary up for us. This summer has had just 9 days above 35 degrees. 9 days above 35. Last summer we had 13 above 35. 2018-19, which is the dry one we were speaking about yesterday, 39 days above 30 degrees. That's short of the record back in 1897-98.
That is a huge difference.
It's staggering, isn't it? It's half as many. Well, less than half as many.
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
Almost 3 times.
This year, it's almost, well, it's more than 4 times. We had 4 times as many in 2018-19 as we did this year.
Yeah. Well, last summer was pretty mild as well. But I'll tell you what, that makes such a huge difference to your garden. Well, I've got plants that never recovered, have still not properly recovered from that 46-degree day. The avocado tree that out the front, it used to have probably 150 avocados on it each season. Well, you get a good year, then you get a less good year. It's had about 15 since then.
We've just had those intermittent bits of rain. There was a little smattering on the windscreen as I drove in this morning.
Yeah.
Not forecast, but there seems to be a little bit of a drizzle about the place. Let's get to the news headlines. Beaches in Sydney's Randwick Council area will remain closed today after a fatal shark attack. A man suffered catastrophic injuries near Little Bay and there was nothing paramedics could do. Horrific video has captured the shark thrashing about in the water as the victim is mauled to death in front of fishers. The search for the animal continues today. First shark attack in Sydney for some 60 years. It's almost 60 years. 1963 it was.
I'll tell you what, the do not look at the video. It's just, I can't believe social media, the extent to which people put these things up there. But it's just the force of what that shark did to the bloke. He had no chance. It sounds like he was maybe spearfishing. It's a really popular beach for spearfishing. That whole area's got all these...
It looks like a rocky outcrop.
Yeah, it is. It's a beautiful beach, Little Bay. They have work conferences there. I went to a work conference there and stayed overnight for 2 nights. One of those infernal workplace retreat things. But the beach itself is actually quite small, and it's right down the southern end, sort of around La Perouse, Malabar, Long Bay, where the prison is. Prison right smack bang on the water. So this awesomely beautiful part of Sydney. But there are a whole bunch of rock fishermen standing there, and the guy is just out, not that far off the rocks, and the sharks just go at him. It's just brutal. But we were saying before, Will, it sounds strange that this is the first in 60 years.
First in 60 years. I looked up what it is in South Australia. I can tell you we've had significantly more in that point in time. Just to narrow it down, we've had 5 fatal attacks in South Australia since 2001. With a couple of really notable ones, of course, at West Beach and Glenelg in 2004 and 2005.
Well, the thing is, Sydney, normally you don't hear about great whites, and this was a great white.
This was a great white, yeah.
Because you're more likely to get attacked by a bull shark in Sydney.
Which was the cause of the 1963.
Yeah, and it was
death.
in the harbour. It wasn't in open sea like this was.
That's right.
And even that woman who died in the 60s.
The actress.
Yeah. The main reason she died, she bled to death eventually because the ambulance that was meant to take her broke down, and then it couldn't get up the ramp at Castle Crag.
She died before the replacement ambulance turned up.
Yeah.
Of blood loss. That sounds like an extraordinary incident because it was a bull shark in shallow water, and her husband went out and wrestled it off her.
Yeah.
So it was really shallow, a totally different scenario, completely different. Back here in Adelaide, one sleep to go until festive season begins. The Fringe kicks off tomorrow night, featuring more than 1,000 shows across 350 venues, and Fringe director Heather Kroll is urging people to book early.
Get onto the Adelaide Fringe website, buy some tickets. The whole city will be transformed into the Fringe playground that we know, and Friday night will be a wonderful night in Adelaide.
The boss of Australia's key spy agency says foreign interference is an issue for all political parties, not just Labor. The federal government claims China is trying to get the opposition elected because they're seen as a softer touch. Labor has rejected the claims and accused the government of compromising national security. In a rare interview, ASIO Director General Mike Burgess has told the ABC all politicians need to be careful with their language.
The foreign interference is against all members of Parliament, so it doesn't go after one particular party or the other, so it's kind of equal opportunity in that regards. In terms of what politicians do, I won't comment on what politicians do, but let me take it back to what I really do care about. ASIO is apolitical.
Geez, it felt like a federal election was coming up yesterday, didn't it?
I got to say, Morrison looks a bit desperate running this line, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think he doesn't look it. He is desperate.
Yeah. Part of this, though, is the problem stems from this totally mad lefty ex-diplomat called Bruce Haig, who wrote an article for a Chinese government-owned newspaper denouncing Morrison, but in the same breath saying Anthony Albanese would be a great Prime Minister. So this has appeared from this diplomat who's doing it for a Chinese-owned publication. I mean, crikey, why anyone would do that? Anyone who values free speech and, neutrality would knowingly, deliberately write something for a Chinese government-operated newspaper. So because of that, this guy who fancies himself as progressive has quite stupidly handed a bit of a tactical gift to the Conservatives, who are now coming out and saying, oh, well, you've got a Chinese government newspaper saying Albo should be PM. That's the crux of it. Yeah. It's more a reflection on Bruce Haig than any evidence. Anyway, crazy.
It's an own goal. Mining giant BHP is pushing ahead with a COVID vaccine mandate, leaving up to 700 employees in danger of losing their job. The Australian reporting this morning 250 employees in the company's Queensland operations have been put on notice. They face termination after not providing proof of vaccination. I wonder how many of those are actually anti-vaxxers and how many of them just couldn't get into the workplace's intranet to let them know that they're vaccinated.
Yeah, well, that's been a problem somewhere, hasn't it?
Remember, David and I weren't allowed in the building here because we couldn't log on to tell them we'd been vaccinated.
Exactly. Yeah, speaking about return to work, nothing quite like first day work, rocking up and finding out your pass doesn't work. Oh, geez, looks like Tommy Wren did a really good job filling it over summer.
The company's updated policy, that is BHP's, came into effect on January 31. Now, the average cost of a steak has risen by at least 10% over the past year due to rising global demand and devastating droughts. Farmers are still rebuilding their cattle herds, slowing down the supply chain at the moment. So a porterhouse steak costs $41 per kilo at Woolies and just over $37 at Coles. 10%. We talk about inflation around the world. There's an example of it. That's outpacing the 6.5% or whatever that we were seeing globally, but that's an example of what's driving it up.
It has become an occasional treat steak, hasn't it?
Yes, very much so.
Particularly if you want the good stuff.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, not those thin ones without any fat that, you know, if you cook them properly, you might use them to make a steak sandwich. But if you want to get a proper porterhouse or an eye fillet or a Scotch fillet, you've got to shell out.
Work has finally begun on the next stage upgrade of the QEH after ongoing delays. The 5-storey Clinical Services Department will be home to the Emergency Department, ICU and operating theatres, the build worth $290 million. And how about this? An Aussie online retailer has disgusted the families of Ivan Milat's victims. Redbubble was shamed into taking various T-shirts off their website. The retailer sells products designed and created by third parties. The T-shirts in question carry the logo, Milat Backpacker Hostel. It's the journey, not the destination.
You're kidding. So, well, that Redbubble site, you can design anything and put it up there.
This is not, they haven't designed this.
No.
But they'll make anything that someone wants to design, presumably, and then...
Yeah. Well, Kate's bought me gifts from Redbubble.
Right.
Like, you know that Rick Davies Jumbo Prince T-shirt that I've got?
They made that, did they?
Well, someone in Adelaide designed it. They did this stylised picture of Rick Davies.
It's really cool, that T-shirt.
I love that shirt. Yeah. I always wear it to Sturt home games under my flanny. But the, unless it's a Sturt Nord game, in which case I've got to wear the chambray and the chinos. I think it's round 5 this year, the Moleskin Derby. Anyway. So Redbubble, like you could design a T-shirt, you know, for you and your wife's wedding anniversary as a joke, and put it on there and tell your friends, hey, if you want to buy one of these for a laugh, go for it. So Redbubble would probably argue, well, we didn't even know who Ivan Milat was.
Yeah.
Someone, you know, jumped on there with this design. I remember there was this huge scandal in the 80s when there was a T-shirt that said Hitler World Tour, and it had all these tour dates starting 1939, Czechoslovakia, and then...
Yeah, right.
Covering all the various countries that the Nazis invaded. And there was like this... It was around the time that the skinhead culture was becoming a thing in Adelaide. And there was a T-shirt store in Hindley Street that was being denounced for selling the Hitler World Tour T-shirts. Rightly so, I think, too.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with that. 23 minutes after 6, 8223 0000 is the number. You can text us on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line as well. A few texts coming through. We'll get to those in just a moment. We'll also turn our attention to sport with Tom Wren.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
In times of loss, you need Embrace. Arranging Mum's funeral was never going to be easy. But Deanne Edwards from Embrace Funerals truly cared about delivering the perfect funeral to honour her life, to share our beautiful family memories, along with those of the many other lives she'd touched. Every detail of Mum's funeral was created with exceptional care and at a really affordable cost. Embrace Funerals gave us peace of mind.
When funerals need to be perfect, choose Embrace.
Now, if you've got a space in your shed, your workshop or around the home that's begging to be storage space, you know who to call, Will.
Yeah, you do. Get onto Sharman Shelving because they love turning any space into storage space. And what's more, they'll make it look good too.
They will, and they'll work with you. What they do, Bill or Christine, they'll come to your house, your office, your workshop or your shed to measure it up. They'll talk to you about what you want. Then they'll design, deliver and assemble the perfect storage solution in a great range of colours.
Goodbye space, boring. Hello storage space.
Excellent.
Useful. You won't have to lift a finger either. It's all done for you. Actually, the one finger you might have to lift is when you're going, hey, that's where we want the shelf, over there. Can we do that?
Like your hand.
Yeah, that's right. That's the end of it.
I know. Well, the guys just turned up and put mine down on the spot. They said, here you go. Here's your garden bench. That's all you need to do. When it comes to storage solutions, everybody needs a little Charmin shelving in their lives. Call into the showroom at 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens, and visit charminshelving.com.au, or also take a look at them on Facebook.
Your pals say a lot about you, and that's why Parafield Airport Liquor Store put all their pals to the test before they make the shelf. They've made pals with over 300 craft beers, 500 whiskies from around the world, and over 2,000 wines. They know good pals when they see them, and they've got an airport hangar full of pals to introduce you to. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals. Open till late 7 days. Next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
You don't always have to be in a physical hospital to receive the care you need. My Home Hospital brings hospital-level care straight to you in the comfort of your own home. My Home Hospital is a wellbeing SA service available at no charge to eligible public patients anytime, day and night across the metropolitan Adelaide area, Gawler and Mount Barker regions and their surrounds. To find out if you're eligible, talk to your doctor today or visit myhomehospital.sa.gov.au. This message brought to you by the Government of South Australia.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
26 minutes after 6. Interesting text coming through. I'm not sure about this one on the Telstra Summit Barker text line. Next Friday, 10 months to Christmas. Start the countdown.
There you go. Get the cranberry sauce.
Yellow Waters Caravan Park, 80 k's north of Jabiru. Nice place. Reads another text as we're talking about lovely caravan parks a little bit earlier in the context of the Northern Territory, but you might have others you've been to that are worth a shout out. And Elkie says, very dark outside. Which party will cut daylight savings November to March? Not on the agenda as yet, but
I don't think that's going to be an election issue, is it?
No, I don't think so. Mind you,
this isn't Western Australia.
The people that it energises the most conversations are the far east and west of the state. And
yeah, totally.
They're not exactly marginal seats. So if you wanted to do something dramatic, you probably could get away with it.
I think so. Yeah. I think you might lose a few votes in Ceduna.
Yeah. That's right.
We'll pick some up, depending on which way you go on
exactly.
it. Exactly.
Yeah. Tom Wren's in the 5AA Breakfast studio with us. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. Fellas, no internal trial for the Crows tomorrow. This story broke late yesterday afternoon, and Stephen Rowe had Darren Burgess, the fitness guru from the Crows, on the show just discussing some of the issues. Let's have a bit of a listen before we dissect it ourselves.
Yeah, we've got 16 players ruled out, and that sort of encompasses positive tests, close contacts, and sort of normal, management and injuries of players in pre-season.
How hard's it going to be if SA Health keep in the close contacts, Burjo? I mean, honestly.
It's certainly different to what other states have to
correct,
but that's what we're what we're dealing with, and that's okay. We'll just play the cards we've been dealt and continue on.
In a good way, though. Like, it sounds like they're all going to give each other COVID, or may indeed already have given each other COVID.
Well, he did go on to say that about 2/3 of the group have already had it.
So we're set for the year.
The only issue is, and that last grab I thought was important, that last little bit of audio you heard, the close contact rules are different here in SA. So if one of the Crows players...
of course they are. I mean, there's an outside chance you catch the disease by just picking up the old Sharon.
Well,
according to the good professor.
And this is the thing, David. So if one of the players was, say, living with you, and then you had COVID and you were deemed a close contact, even though, one of the players might have had COVID themselves, they're deemed a close contact. It's much stricter here.
And to your point, something I heard in your show earlier, Rennie, when you were on before, I don't think getting it out the way early actually provides you as much benefit as you might otherwise think, because I think the point was made in that interview with Rowe and Darren Burgess. Jimmy Rowe's had it, but 30 days has elapsed since he got it, so now he can be a close contact again.
That's right.
Well, that's true.
So
that's right, and that's it. And
of course, because we had, when Ruby was working here, when our producers were in ISO when they didn't have COVID, but they were put into ISO anyway.
Can't be too careful.
You can't be too careful. Abundance of caution. Ironically, the fill-in producer, Ruby, had COVID.
Yes.
So if she did a test here in the building, she would have tested positive for it, because she was within the 30 days.
Yep.
But she could still work, even though she'd had it. But the two people who definitely didn't have it weren't allowed to work.
Makes perfect sense. They've got to change. Surely it'll change at some point. Well, at least to get in step with the rest of the country, where I think you have to be a household contact now to be close contact.
And that's it. So, look, I guess the point of this is there's got to be disruptions throughout the year again, particularly...
Aren't a lot of them, though, Tom, household contacts because they do share the same house?
Well, that would be one of the issues. So, we've got 16 out. And the other thing is, if this is a normal game, they'd still be playing. It's only because it's an internal trial they can't field two teams. But if they were playing the Bulldogs this week at, Adelaide Oval, they just have to go with the 29 players that are available. So, I think it's going to be an issue. So they just picked players out of the SANFL, out of the Crows SANFL?
Well, not other SANFL clubs.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think if you've got 29 available, you're just going to have to play, the kid that's been drafted and might be 2 years away from being ready. You're just playing. So it's going to be that kind of situation. And we see it in the NBA, don't we, Will? You and I keep a very close eye on that.
Saw it in the NFL too. And then magically, no one got COVID during the playoffs. It was really, they organised it really well over there. Funny, they had COVID replacements all year, playoffs hit. Not a single positive test. Just remarkable. Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, Will. Thanks, David.
6:30, 5AA News Time. Back in a moment.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 25 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
Sydney siders have been rocked by their first fatal shark attack in almost 60 years. Witnesses have described the moment the great white grabbed a swimmer yesterday, dragging him underwater near Little Bay. The victim suffered catastrophic injuries and could not be saved. Chris was nearby at the time.
I'm in the water here a lot too, and seeing that happen like 10 metres away from the rocks is I don't know how I'm going to go forward with that.
The sand-covered volleyball courts in the CBD are going to be replaced with an office high-rise. Adelaide City Council has sold City Beach on Perry Street. Construction on the new data centre is expected to start later this year. The volleyball setup could be relocated to Benithan Park. We're being warned we'll pay more for meat for much of this year. Retail prices are up more than 10% on this time 12 months ago, and some higher-end cuts up as much as 30%. Meat and Livestock Australia's Managing Director, Jason Strong, says increasing transport costs and labour shortages have played a role, but supply and demand are the biggest factors.
What's happening is we're rebuilding after the drought, so even though we've got these fantastic seasons, because our herd was the lowest that it's been in decades, people are keeping more heifers to grow their herds back up again. So the supply issue is more from people keeping cattle and not turning them off. So that's what's creating the supply issue.
NATO's Secretary-General Jens Stoltenberg says Russia's readiness to use military force in pursuit of its goals has created a new normal. High-level talks continued overnight as Ukraine marked a day of unity on the predicted day of invasion. Mr Stoltenberg says Russia is using its biggest concentration of combat force since the Cold War to intimidate European nations.
Russia has demonstrated that it really is willing to contest some of the fundamental principles for our security. The right for every nation to choose its own path, and also, of course, the right for NATO allies to defend and protect each other.
The royal family is facing a fresh scandal as British police launch an investigation into Prince Charles's charitable foundation. Nine's UK correspondent Brett McLeod has more.
Just a day after Prince Andrew made an out-of-court settlement in a sexual assault lawsuit against him, his brother Charles' foundation is the subject of a Scotland Yard inquiry. It follows allegations that led the educational charity's chief to quit after claims he pushed for a Saudi billionaire donor to get British citizenship and a knighthood. Charles has denied all knowledge of the allegations, and the charity has pledged support for the investigation. In better news for the royal family, the Queen has returned to meeting official guests in person.
Former supermodel Linda Evangelista has been photographed for the first time since a fat freezing procedure on parts of her body went wrong. During the 80s and 90s, the now 56-year-old appeared on 700 magazine covers, but says she now can't look in the mirror. She first went public about the procedures last year. Now turning to 5AA Sport, it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide's Tom Jonas admits it's taken some time to get used to being captain. Jonas will take the role for a fourth season, and he told Rowie he's honoured to once again be given the number one jumper.
It was a bit odd at first, but I think people have kind of got used to it, but I think essentially, I'm still the same person, same leader, and very lucky to be leading a great group of blokes.
The Power will have an internal trial tomorrow at Alberton, but the Crows' internal trial has been cancelled because 16 players are unavailable through a mixture of COVID, being close contacts or being injured. To soccer, Wellington has jumped into the top six off the back of a convincing 3-0 win. The second goal, an absolute stunner from outside the box.
Chance at each end hitting the post, and now it's Sandoval calling it into the top corner. That is simply superb from Sandoval.
Audio thanks to Channel 10. There was one other match overnight with the Western Sydney Wanderers 2-0 winners over the Melbourne Victory. Meantime, European Champions League action is just kicking off with Inter Milan hosting Liverpool, while there's one other match with Salzburg up against Bayern Munich. To cricket, uncapped Queensland fast bowler Mark Steckity has been called into Australia's squad for the upcoming Test tour of Pakistan. He replaces the injured Michael Neser. And Giannis Antetokounmpo has turned it on for Milwaukee with a whopping 50 points and 14 rebounds, as his side, the Bucks, took care of Indiana 128-119. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
25 today and cloudy, partly cloudy tomorrow 24, Saturday sunny 26 degrees. Right now it's 17. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderall Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Gliderall.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 7.
Bit of Led Zepp to get you fired up first thing in the morning.
8223 is the number that we want you to call right now. If you own something in your house that you think is truly unique, do you have something that it's one of one, or you're convinced it is, or it just might be, you suspect it is, whether it's worth something or not? We want to hear from you. 8223 because you just don't know sometimes what these things are going to be worth.
Is this like Antiques Roadshow, Will?
Sort of, but with a twist. The auction house Christie's have a pretty unique item that they've added that's going up for auction. It'll ultimately be worth somewhere in the order of $280,000 to $420,000 Australian. So it's sort of an apartment price in Adelaide, and it is an abode of a sort. It's a doghouse that belonged.
A kennel?
Yeah, it's a little kennel that belonged to a German shepherd named Rocky. From Costa Rica. A couple of people in Costa Rica had the doghouse. The thing that makes it special is that this doghouse was struck by a meteorite in 2019. And it's created a perfect hole in the roof of the doghouse where you can see the meteorite went through. But
how big is the doghouse to be hit by a meteorite and still be intact?
Well, it hit with such force, it's just perforated it. It looks like a cricket ball's just gone straight through. It's sort of corrugated iron.
Okay.
And it looks like it's just created a perfect hole and gone
Was
through
the dog in it at the time?
The dog was asleep in it and it was okay.
They got hit by a meteorite?
Well, I think that you must have avoided the dog. The dog's condition is okay. So it got hit at just 7 after 9 on the 23rd of April 2019. Now, you might say, well, why was a doghouse with a hole in the roof worth as much as an apartment in Adelaide? I didn't know this existed, but apparently there is a form of cosmic chemistry or some such, the scientific veracity I can't vouch for, where there are certain meteor showers that are really sought after because they contain all sorts of minerals and bits and pieces that are rare. This one's known as the Aguas Zacaris meteorites, which is similar to Murchison meteorites, which I'm not familiar with either, that are really sought after by some people on Earth. I didn't know these people existed, but they're willing to pay for it. So here's the thing that's really curious, though. The dog house itself, worth somewhere between $280,000 and $420,000, they obviously have the meteorite too, which in itself is rare, because usually they get launched into the earth and they either disintegrate or they're underground. This one managed to keep intact, got slowed down enough, hit the dog house. It's going to sell for somewhere between $56,000 and $84,000. So all up, they could get somewhere around $500,000 for this doghouse that was struck by a small meteorite.
I can understand the meteorite attracting money.
I'm with you.
The kennel?
Yeah.
Well, what do you do with the damn thing?
I don't know, just an exhibition?
How bizarre.
Totally bizarre. I just wonder if anyone at home's got something they think is unique. I suspect we won't get as unique as that. But something that's a one of one in the garage or around the home. 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line.
One of my mates had a significant birthday recently, and he's a huge student of history. very good historian. He's got a first class honours distinction for his university thesis, his honours degree about the Second World War, specifically the Italian war effort, and as befits his Italian heritage. Some mates of mine, for his significant birthday last year, went to one of the coin shops in town and bought him a real Roman coin.
Oh, wow.
It was such a great gift.
Is that, or is it, is
I don't know.
Are they particularly
I
expensive?
don't know. Well, I think they'd probably cost a bit.
They're the ones with a hole in it?
No, it didn't have a hole in it. It was weird. It was all sort of misshapen. It wasn't a perfect circle. I can't remember when it was. I think it was from 400 AD.
Wow.
But we were just passing it around at the table. We had dinner at Jarman's, actually. It was a great night. But just looking at this coin, you're thinking, my God, that is, this is what Julius Caesar was using to get drinks out of the Coke machine with. It's extraordinary.
That is extraordinary. Daryl in McLaren Vale, good morning.
G'day, guys. How you going?
Good, thanks, mate.
I have the bayonet off of my grandfather's rifle that he brought back from Gallipoli in World War One.
Oh, wow. How do you store it, Daryl? Is it on display or is it sort of hidden away?
I've got it mounted on a piece of mahogany, but I've got the original sheath that used to strap onto his belt as well that it fits in, and yeah.
Do you have to maintain it at all?
No, it maintains itself.
Wow.
It's it's original. The original. I think there's something like 4 in the world or something. I don't know.
Have you had a value, Daryl?
I've got a rough idea. Probably, yeah. I don't really know where to take it. If anybody knew where I could take it to get it properly valued, I'd be very grateful.
Well, if someone does know, give us a call.
Yeah.
Do you know how he managed to get it back?
Well, I don't know. I don't know the whole story because Grandpa never ever talked. Mum passed away a few years ago. She was 93 when she passed, and she said that Grandpa never ever talked about it. It was just something that I bought my grandpa and grandma's property in 1994 out at Blewett Springs, and it was just a shed full of bits and pieces of gear, and it was in a box of bits and pieces in the shed.
Wow!
And I took it out and lightly, I just gave it a light clean up, and I got a piece of mahogany cut up and shaped, and I mounted it on there, and I have it sitting on the cupboard. It could be hanging on the wall or something like that, but yeah, it came back from World War One in Gallipoli.
Extraordinary.
Bit of Australian history there, Daryl.
Also.
Thank you. Let's go to Salisbury. Barry, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good, thanks, Barry.
Good. My wife's family had a piano, a steel frame piano, but the steel frame got cracked, so it was no good for tuning. So a friend of mine and myself, we got together and dismantled the piano, and he took the timber home and whatever he could, the keyboard, and he cut it down, matched everything up. Now, he has called it a piano bar. It's a glass storage place. Over the keys, he's had a plate of glass. You pull it out and you use that as the place for pouring your wine.
What a great idea.
The piano bar.
Yeah. It's absolutely fantastic.
Oh, that's brilliant.
That sounds terrific.
Yeah,
It'll
that
look
would
good.
be one of a kind. Thank you, Barry. Anything else you've got, folks, that's one of a kind at your house, whether you did it yourself or maybe you just found it? 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. A few coming through.
There's one here. Someone's actually sent us a photograph of the kennel and make the point, this is Rocky in his kennel. Hopefully once the kennel is sold, these cheap dog owners will at least get the poor dog a decent kennel. Have a look at it. They're absolutely right. It's all rusted and...
So, mate, look, I'm not sure, they're part of, I don't know if there are well-to-do parts of Costa Rica, but...
No, Costa Rica's quite affluent.
Is it?
Yeah, Costa Rica's like the Switzerland of Central America.
Oh, okay.
They don't have an army. There's no army.
Right.
And in an area where they're basically surrounded by failed states, you know, El Salvador, Honduras, countries that are utterly lawless. But Costa Rica, a lot of Americans, cashed up Hollywood stars, own properties there. I think, is it Woody Harrelson owns a huge tract of land, and most of the country's national park. It's a very environmentally friendly country, very ecologically minded place.
I tried to give these people out, and what you're saying is they just are cheap.
Yeah, they are. Jurassic Park's filmed in Costa Rica.
Isla Nublar.
Isla Nublar, yeah. It's in Costa Rica.
There's a chain of islands, I think, in the Michael Crichton books.
Yeah.
They exist, actually. I thought the islands were made up.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
15 minutes to 7. It's time to check traffic for the first time on this Thursday morning. Is your BMW due for service? Will receive complimentary vehicle pickup and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
Good morning, Will. At Elizabeth Grove, got street lighting repair works, Main North Road near Haydown Road. That's affecting both directions. Speeds at 40 and one lane closed. Darlington, works on Flagstaff Road continue near the South Road intersection. And we've got asphalt works at O'Halloran Hill. It's Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Gets pretty busy throughout the morning too. Got cameras Angle Vale Road, Angle Vale, and Kettle Terrace at Kenttown. Australia's biggest warehouse sale is on now at Amart Furniture. Save up to 50% off on a huge range, plus $130 million of furniture in stock. Shop with Amart today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Christian Canute from Rusden Wines speaks with cricketing legend Dennis Lilly.
Dennis, you've visited a few cellar doors over the years. What is it that you look for?
You know, I love the old school setups where there's friendly, warm people there. They all know a little, good information on the wines they're serving you, and just sort of nice, relaxed, homely atmosphere. Rusden seems to give you that.
Rusden Wines, home of the Black Gut Shiraz. rusdenwines.com.au.
Hello, Frank Walker from National Tiles. By consistently focusing on what's best for our customers, National Tiles has become by far the largest family-owned tile company in Australia. Yes, National Tiles guarantees you the finest range of tiles in Australia, the best value tiles in Australia, and by far the best tile selection experience in Australia every day of the year. So for your tiles, get the best tiles at National Tiles now.
If you could punch cancer in the face, would you? What about heart disease, stroke or diabetes? Would you fight them too? Well, we are, and we need your help. By purchasing a ticket in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery, you're supporting more than 50 areas of medical research and joining the fight to find cures and improve care. There's millions and millions to win. Join the fight at homelottery.com.au. Licence M14133.
The Edwardstown Mazda sale is on right now, and it is sizzling with massive savings on new, demo and used Mazdas. And the great news? Plenty of stock is arriving daily. But remember, everybody wants to drive a Mazda in 2022. So hurry to avoid missing out. The Edwardstown Mazda sale is on right now with incredible savings. Hurry in now. Edwardstown Mazda, 862 South Road. LMVD 207428.
The Australian-made mattress floor stock clearance on now at Harvey Norman. All discontinued floor stock must go. Now's the time to upgrade to an Australian-made mattress or ensemble and support local manufacturers. Our range includes the big-name brands Sleepmaker, Sealy Posturepedic and King Coil by A.H. Beard. This is your chance to buy a quality Australian-made mattress or ensemble at an amazing price. All discontinued floor stock must go. The Australian-made mattress floor stock clearance on now at Harvey Norman.
Go! 9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
11 minutes to 7. Got some really interesting texts from people on the Telstra Stormount Barker text line about things they own that are one of one, or they suspect might be unique. Fred's got a $20 note with 202 written on it, a genuine misprint on a actual $20 note. That would, I think, there's people that collect that kind of stuff. You might be sitting on a gold mine there, Fred. CJ in Bowden has a handwritten restaurant bill signed by Anton Senna when he dined at Jummers on Kensington Road. I'd be putting a frame around that and having
That's
that on the
cool.
wall. That's sensational. Harry in Lark's Bay's got one of Ben Keys' gloves that he wore from last season. Nice work,
Yeah,
Harry.
well, I'll take that one on Antiques Roadshow in about 100 years' time. I believe that's one of Ben Keys' gloves.
What
from
you've
the
got
early
is an
20s.
original Keys.
That's right.
And Marcus from Elizabeth, appreciate this text. He says an accident blocking one lane Portrush Road by the parade, heading from the freeway. No police on the scene just yet. We'll check in with SAPOL right now. In fact, Senior Constable Jen Cullinan is on the line. Morning to you, Jen.
Good morning.
Now, a man's been arrested for trespassing in Morfett Vale.
Yes, he has, and this is the importance of people ringing in the police when they think they've seen something suspicious. So police were called to the corner of Randall Road and Palomino Place in Morfett Vale last night just after 8 o'clock after report of suspicious behaviour. A concerned neighbour had spotted a man in high vis entering a house that's under demolition in the street and didn't think he was a tradie, so patrols attended and they located a suspect nearby, and a 30-year-old man from Morfett Vale was found in possession of some copper tubing. So he's been arrested and charged with being unlawfully on premises and theft, and he'll go to the Christie's Magistrates Court in March.
Good work by the punter who rang SAPOL.
Yeah, just shows the importance of ringing straight away.
Absolutely. Jen, also there's been an attempted robbery in Port Lincoln.
Yes, and that was at 2:15 this morning. Police were called to a service station on Hallett Place after a woman entered the station and allegedly threatened the console operator with a syringe. So police were quickly on scene and they actually located the suspect still inside the store where she was arrested. Luckily, there was no physical injuries and nothing was stolen from the service station. And a 53-year-old woman from Port Lincoln has been charged with attempt aggravated robbery, and she's going to court in March as well.
And Jed, have you got anything on that incident that Marcus just texted us about a couple of moments ago, the accident at Portrush Road near the parade?
Yeah, we're getting reports of a car versus a tree on Portrush Road junction with William Road at Norwood. So police are making their way to the scene, but it could cause a little bit of traffic chaos this morning until we get there.
Good stuff. Thank you for that, Jen. Senior Constable Jen Cullinan from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Simon Timke at the Weather Bureau. Morning to you, Simon.
Good morning, guys.
What kind of Thursday do we have on the way?
Yeah, look, cloudy day today. Looking on the satellite picture, fairly extensive areas of cloud right over the south of the state. There could be the odd light shower around with that today on the radar at the moment. Mostly it's to the north, but had a couple of light showers move across the Gulf just to the west of Adelaide Airport, and there are a couple earlier on sort of up towards Gawler, Roseworthy way, but they've moved northwards as well. So clear for now, but yeah, just a slight chance of a light shower today. Temperature-wise, we're sitting on 16.8 degrees right now in the city. Our overnight minimum was 15.3 at about 4:15 this morning. We're expecting a maximum of 25 degrees for the city, 25 as well for Noarlunga, Mount Barker and Elizabeth, 24 degrees for Glenelg. The wind's generally south to southwesterly, probably freshening up a little bit by the coast this afternoon with some sea breezes, and those winds becoming light in the evening. Next couple of days, a similar sort of day for Friday, partly cloudy with south to southwesterly winds, 24 degrees the maximum. Then a nice sunny day on the way for Saturday, 26 degrees with southerly winds again. Bit of cloud around Sunday, 23 degrees, and similarly on Monday, 23 degrees as well. And a few cooler nights in there, down to 13 degrees for Saturday and Sunday. And temperatures on the rise early next week, 23 for Monday, 27 for Tuesday, and up to 30 degrees for Wednesday with plenty of sunshine around on Tuesday and Wednesday.
Good stuff, Simon.
Thanks, Simon.
Thank you. Simon Timke, Senior Forecaster at the Weather Bureau. It's coming to 6 minutes to 7. We're off to the US right after the break.
Right now, SA Ambulance Service has never been busier.
000 ambulance emergency.
So I was fishing on a boat and the hook is stuck in my nose.
But every day, 000 receives more and more trivial calls,
My husband fell down and he's broken his big toe.
stopping them from getting to the real emergencies.
I've got a really bad jaw pain from brushing my teeth too hard.
For non-emergencies, visit the Health Direct website and save 000 for when it matters.
For 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip And right now, Steinborner Automotive Gawler has stocked up with 30 hand-picked 2018-19 ZB Commodores. Choose from a range of factory edition or special black edition with black roof and black wheels. That's 2018 and 19 ZB Commodores from $23,990, all with a balance of factory warranty. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth the trip.
With over 300 destinations, G'day Parks is Australia's largest network of holiday parks. That means it's also Australia's largest network of... Australia's largest network of...
Dinner's ready.
Australia's largest network of... And Australia's largest network of... Download the app or book online at g'dayparks.com.au. It's easy. The hard part is leaving when the holidays are over. G'day Parks. Here's good.
Feeling the burn?
Cheapest chips.
Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys. Head & Shoulders huge 620ml shampoo or conditioner pump packs, only $6.99. Lynx and Rexona deodorants are hot buy at 2 for $6. 4-pack Dove soap, only $3.79 a pack. And Quilton 36-pack toilet paper, $17.99. That's only 50 cents per roll. Check out this week's catalogue for more hot buys in store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
4 minutes to 7, we'll flash back with Michael Smith from 7 News a little bit later in the morning, and then after 7:30, we'll reflect on the week that was in South Australian politics. 4 weeks away from polling day on Saturday, and Matt Abraham has a lot of spin to dissect. We had a few texts earlier in the week from people saying last weekend was the first time it really started to feel like election campaign proper in South Australia. So we'll get Matt's take on things as they've managed to heat up. Let's head to the US first. Tim Lester for 7 News is on the line. Morning to you, Tim.
Morning, guys.
Well, Tim, you had a front row seat for some of the most excited people in the world a few days ago with the Rams winning the Super Bowl. What's happened with the Hollywood sign?
Well, they've done a changeover to Rams House. Rams House, of course, being a play on the LA Rams and being conveniently the same length in letter length as Hollywood, so they can replace the Hollywood sign to celebrate the win. Problem is, it's taken them a full 2 days to do it, and an awful lot of LA residents looking on figure it looks pretty cruddy, frankly. So it's copping a bit of an attack on social media and in some of the online media who reckon they've done a pretty poor job. And of course, the Hollywood sign's been changed pretty regularly over the years for one star to another, or it's been changed before. And the figuring is that in the past, when it didn't have the backing of the city to do it, it actually looked better than today when it did have the backing of the city.
It does look sort of bodgy, the way they've done it. Looks like a few people have run up there with some white cardboard. And
yeah, it looks like a school project.
Yeah. Hey, Tim, it sounds like the US government and intelligence services are still pretty sceptical that there's any genuine de-escalation on the Ukraine border.
Completely so far. The State Department joining the White House this morning saying they've got no evidence whatsoever that there's been any significant troop withdrawal from the borders of Ukraine by the Russian military. That's contrary, of course, to what the Russians are saying. So they're withholding judgment at the moment. In fact, they say, if anything, troop numbers have been heading towards the 150,000 mark, not away from it. So we're in this period of doubt as to whether the Russians or whether the Russian leadership in this regard are telling us what we need to know. So plenty of doubt around that, and also reports now of incidents in which Russian and US aircraft are supposed to have flew dangerously close to one another, according to the US side, over the Mediterranean on Friday and Saturday in 3 separate incidents. Is that particularly significant? Well, it tends to tell us that tensions aren't subsiding. If anything, they're going in the wrong direction.
Tim, thank you for that. Tim Lester for 7 News in the United States.
There's an Adelaide link to the Hollywood sign, isn't there?
Yeah, Shane Yeen, the entrepreneur and businessman, owns the rights to... Now, I'm no copyright law expert, but basically anything that uses the Hollywood sign for the purpose of publication, like if you want to sell T-shirts with a Hollywood sign on it or
a postcard,
he owns the rights to that. Because he found out he wanted to buy merchandise, I think, on a trip to LA going back a number of years. Couldn't do it because there was some dispute over it. And he went, well, I'll just buy it. And he did.
Like Victor Kiam. I liked it so much, I bought the company.
He bought the rights to the sign. It was a remarkable thing. Adelaide story. 7 o'clock, 5AA News on the way. Back with more in a moment.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 25 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Our ever-changing city skyline is changing again. The City Council has sold the block where volleyball has been played since the 1990s on the corner of Perry Street and Frome Road. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor says the block will be home to NextDC's new $100 million data centre.
That site was originally bought by council as land banking really for development. Volleyball SA has been there for a number of years and we've worked very closely with them so that we could find another site for them so they stay in the city.
Police have returned to the scene of a fatal shark attack in Sydney's east as they try to piece together what happened. Nine's Gabrielle Boyle is there.
It's a grim scene along the coastline at Little Bay this morning as uniformed police officers scour the rock shelf after a swimmer was fatally mauled by a shark yesterday afternoon. Police are being assisted by crews in the Westpac chopper, which is buzzing above, and surf lifesavers on jet skis in the choppy waters. Witnesses have described hearing piercing screams from the man, with some describing the shark as more than 4.5 metres long. Paramedics raced to the scene, but the man's injuries were described as catastrophic. It's the first fatal shark attack recorded in Sydney in almost 60 years.
The head of Australia's key spy agency is again warning foreign interference is not limited to one side of politics. The federal government claims China is pulling all stops to make sure the opposition is elected. Labor is urging the government to stop politicising national security. ASIO Director General Mike Burgess has told the ABC all politicians must be careful with what they say.
I'll leave the politics to the politicians, but I'm very clear with everyone that I need to be that that's not helpful for us.
Australians are being urged to get rid of their disposable face masks properly by throwing them in the bin. The number found in the environment will be counted this Clean Up Australia Day. Chair Pip Kiernan says they are a major issue.
There are a lot of masks out there. Our volunteers are telling us they're seeing them. You've only got to walk down the street and you see them everywhere. But we don't have any data around just how many there are in the environment.
Ukraine's president says he still hasn't seen any signs Russia is withdrawing troops from the border. NATO is calling on Russia to continue diplomatic dialogue to reduce tensions. Volodymyr Zelensky has told the BBC if a withdrawal did start, it would be plain to see.
To be honest, we react to the reality we have, and we don't see any withdrawal yet. We just heard about it. I think all normal people expect de-escalation. As for the threat, I've said many times that we're calm about any threats because we remember that all this didn't start yesterday.
Now turning to 5AA Sport, it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide won't play its internal trial match tomorrow because of issues surrounding players having COVID or being close contacts or other injuries. 16 players are unavailable, but the club is confident it will be able to field a team for next week's hit-out against Brisbane. Australia's Sammy Kennedy-Sim will compete in the ski cross event at the Winter Olympics today. Nine's Matt Granland reports.
Kennedy-Sim's story is one of inspiration, competing in her third Olympic Games 9 years after suffering a stroke. She'll compete in the ski cross, an event where competitors race head-to-head through a course with turns and obstacles. The 32-year-old finished 28th in the 2014 Games. She was 8th 4 years later in Pyeongchang. Today, she is gunning for a podium finish.
Uncapped Queensland fast bowler Mark Steketee has been called into Australia's squad for the upcoming Test tour of Pakistan to replace the injured Michael Neser. The ICC has announced a 75% increase in prize money for the upcoming Women's One-Day International World Cup. The winning team will receive $1.85 million. And there was one international T20 match overnight in the men's, with India beating the West Indies by 6 wickets in a match played in Kolkata. To soccer, and 2 games in the A-League last night with the Western Sydney Wanderers 2-0 winners over the Melbourne Victory, while Wellington got over Brisbane 3-0. Meantime, in European Champions League action, it's about half an hour in with Inter Milan and Liverpool locked at 0-0, while Salzburg has taken a surprise 1-0 lead over Bayern Munich. And the LA Rams have held a street parade to honour the Super Bowl winning team led by quarterback Matt Stafford. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
At Norwood, got a Carvey Tree, Portrush Road near the Parade. Elizabeth Grove, got street lighting repair works there. Main North Road near Haydown Road, affecting both directions. Slow going too, down to 40 k's. O'Halloran Hill, Asphalt Works, Majors Road near the Southern Expressway gets busy throughout the morning with cameras Cavan Road, Dry Creek, Hay Road, Linden Park. Drive away in the all-new MG ZS SUV from $22,490. Available for immediate delivery from Hamilton MG, Brighton and Morford Vale. LVD 3600. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Cloudy and 25 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 24, Saturday sunny and 26. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 minutes after 7, we'll flash back with Michael Smith a little bit later in the morning. We're also going to talk about Fringe season starts tomorrow night. Comes up fast. 17th of February today. Tomorrow, it's officially Fringe season in Adelaide, and we'll be taking you inside Gluttony and seeing what that particular venue has to offer very shortly. The other thing that's going to be really exciting today, Matt Abraham on the program, just outside of a month away from the South Australian state election. We were talking about a kennel after 6:30 this morning that has been sold for over $300,000. It was struck by a meteorite that is apparently from a meteor storm that was in high demand. It's got some stuff in it that I'm not quite sure is scientific, the people who pursue it, but they're willing to pay big money for anything that was touched by it, including the meteorite itself.
You can get cheaper ones at Pet Barn, can't you?
You certainly can. You don't need to pay over $300,000.
I'll get the one that hasn't been hit by a meteorite, thanks.
So we've been asking you this morning, what have you got at your place that might be considered one of a kind? Sally in Salisbury East, good morning.
Morning, how are you boys?
We're good, thanks, Sally. How are you?
Good. When I was a teenager, my best friend's grandma was part of Noarlunga Neighbourhood Watch, and they went for dinner at Parliament House. So I've got a menu that was signed by Robert Brokenshire when he was the Minister for Police.
I reckon that's one of one, Sally.
What was on the menu? Was it a good meal?
It was at the time. We loved it. And we were the only young kids there because it's not something sort of teenagers would go to, but it was good. You got a tour of Parliament House, you got dinner, and of course we spoke about what Neighbourhood Watch means and everything.
So was it in the actual dining room, the parliamentary dining room? Oh,
yes.
bloody-da. That sounds pretty
There
good.
are about 25 of us.
Oh, cool.
Oh, wow. How about that? Good stuff, Sally. Thank you. All right, let's go to Glenelg. Drew, good morning. What have you got that's one of a kind?
Well, my 3-year-old nearly spent all day yesterday listening to her parents.
And that's never happened before.
That's priceless.
Thank you, Drew.
Enjoy days like that,
Yeah,
mate.
that's right. That might be the only one. The last one. John in Kangaroo, good morning. What have you got that's one of a kind?
Yeah, good morning, boys. I don't know whether you were familiar with the Pears soaps advertisements. You might have seen them with various... This goes back into the 40s and the 50s, or maybe even earlier. Yeah, my grandfather was the model of the little boy sitting in the tub having his ears washed.
Oh, you're joking?
No way.
I'm not He was born in 1884, and so hanging in our house we have a painting of the River Thames, and written on and that's by the author, the painter or the artist that did that series, and written down in the bottom right-hand corner it says, "To my affectionate little friend Ozzy Withall." And so there you go. Hey, that's one of a kind.
That is one of a kind, John. That's excellent.
Sparked a memory for me. My grandma had a painting of a little girl called Bubbles, who was she was the face of one of those soap ads. And then became like this child star.
We often, recency bias being what it is, think, we're living through this incredible time of change and, the internet era and how things have changed. Imagine being born in 1884 and being on a television advertisement. Like, TV was invented when this person, when this person was in their 30s.
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
It's just, there's a lot of change every generation. 10 after 7, let's get to some of the news of the day, and it's headlined by this tragic situation in Sydney where there's been the first fatal shark attack in almost 60 years.
I'm in the water here a lot too, and seeing that happen like 10 metres away from the rocks is I don't know how I'm going to go forward with that.
We were just having a round of golf and got interrupted by constables that was right past the dog buggy, and I think that shortly after there was a couple of helicopters in that.
The death prompted Randwick Council to close beaches from Clovelly to La Perouse for 24 hours. As we said, first fatal shark attack since 1963, and even that one, it's not a shark attack in the way we'd classically think about it. It involved the death of actress Marsha Hathaway. She was in the shallows of Sydney Harbour, got attacked by a bull shark. I can give you some sense of how shallow it was. Her fiancé went and fought it off her leg, got it off of her leg, but it severed the artery in her leg. She got put in the back of an ambulance that broke down, and the replacement couldn't get there in time. So it's 60 years with an asterisk. I mean, it's a tragic scenario, but
that part of the harbour you're talking about, where that woman died 60 years ago, that would be probably at least 10 kilometres west of the ocean as well. Like, that is way into Middle Harbour. It's near an amazing place called Bantry Bay, that during World War II was used as a munitions storage depot. And it's this giant tunnel that's completely made out of Western red cedar, so that there's no possibility that any of the ammo that was being stored could have scratched against steel.
Yeah, right.
It's most incredible construction. But yeah, that shark, I mean, that's the equivalent of like being attacked by a shark at Westlakes or something. It's gone way in.
Yep. Yeah,
further than Westlakes, like one of those sort of channels that bull sharks love. But yeah, you don't associate great whites with Sydney.
No, there's been 5 fatal shark attacks in South Australian waters since just 2001. 2 on suburban Adelaide beaches in that time, to give you some sense of how much more dangerous they are here. 16.3 shark attacks a year in Australia since 1988. So you're desperately unlucky getting hit by one off of Sydney. If I was to play this TV theme, I'm not sure you'd get it, David, but I reckon a lot of our listeners would. I'll tell you, one of them is my mother. She adores anything. Sam Daddo, he's a big fan of this as well. I tell you what, if there's someone being killed somewhere and there's an investigation into it on television, my mother's watching it. She loves crime shows. NCIS is a phenomenon in the United States, and new life on streaming service. You can watch it. They've franchised the show before. NCIS, I think there's Hawaii. There's been other ones on
New Orleans,
LA, New Orleans. They've done this before. They've done them in certain settings. The first ever has been announced outside the United States, and NCIS Sydney.
You're kidding?
Sydney, Australia. They're going to do an Australian version. It's going to be released in 2023 by Channel 10 and Paramount Plus.
Is it going to have like Nettie Smith in it? Is it sort of inspired
Brian
by
Brown?
Yeah, 2 hands.
So the
set in the cross. It probably would be set in King's Cross, actually.
It will be. So it's going to feature local stories, Australian actors and producers. It's very much an Australian version of a hugely successful American TV franchise, which I think begs the question, what other television shows need an Australian version?
Oh, yeah, that's a good idea.
8223 0000. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. So we've got NCIS Sydney. Could, instead of, Midsummer Murders, we get Mount Barker murders. Mind you, Midsummer is a place they've invented that doesn't exist to try and, not upset people.
Yeah.
I want the Australian Great British Menu, as you know, me being a big fan of that. I think it's the preeminent cooking show.
It is a great show.
And as a sports fan, I can tell you that I'm desperate. We're slowly getting there, but somehow Australian rules football coaches still treat what they do as though, they're akin to ASIO. But a Hard Knocks or All or Nothing style documentary series going, behind the scenes, into teams, taking you through all that, one a year, would
like
be
those
great.
ESPN ones?
Yeah, like ESPN do.
Yeah.
Would be great.
What is it called, 20 from 20?
30 for 30 is a series of documentaries on sport, but they do All or Nothing or Hard Knocks in the NFL, which I don't even follow the NFL that closely, but I watch because they're just so spectacularly well done, and they give you a genuine insight into clubs. Sunderland Till I Die was a great one that they did in England.
Oh, yeah. One
of the best sports docs I've ever seen. I'd love to see that in Australia. What would you like to see an Australian version of? If we can do NCIS Sydney, we can do anything. 8223
I'm surprised given the reputation South Australia has for punching above its weight in the mysterious and gruesome crime category that we've been snubbed ahead of Sydney, or snubbed for Sydney.
Yeah, well, I think it's Americans.
I'm glad that we.
No, you're right.
Picked on SA.
No, they just wanted to find a place with some notable landmarks, I'd imagine. So Americans can go, Sydney.
Yeah.
Oh, that's the Opera House.
Yeah, that's right.
You got that weird building.
Hey, honey, look, there's that giant bridge.
It is. I always thought NCIS. Sam will be able to answer this question. Isn't it referred? What does it stand for? It's a Naval Criminal Investigative Service, which is an arm of the US government. Geez, they're outside of the jurisdiction in Sydney, I would have thought.
Yeah, that's right. We
really. Sam tells me there are Marines in the Northern Territory that come under that.
Oh yeah,
designation. So, I like that. Are you working for the show? Did you pitch this?
He knows his stuff.
He really is across NCIS. All right.
I think he's using FIVEaa as a jumping board to get a job with NCIS.
Oh, no, I think it's suddenly all becoming clear. Any form of show, would you like to see an Australian version of it? Let us know. Dare to dream like Sam Daddo did. He brought NCIS to Australia. You could do the same thing for your favourite franchise. 8223 Let's check traffic. Is your BMW due for a service? We'll receive complimentary vehicle pickup and drop off at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. Norwood, look out for a carvey tree. That's Portrush Road near the Parade, down to one lane both directions. Avoid if you can today, slow going. Elizabeth Grove, got street lighting repair works, Main North Road near Haydown Road. That's affecting both directions, slow going there as well. And O'Halloran Hill, asphalt works on Majors Road near the Southern Expressway. Gets pretty busy throughout the morning. Cameras, Hay Road, Linden Park and Young Street at Unley. Reboot your weight loss goals in 2022 with WW's new personal points program. Start today and get your first month free at www.com. Hurry, end soon. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
5AA Nights with Matthew Pantelis.
Well, a man has been shot, an elderly man at Newton this afternoon. He's been rushed to hospital. Ella Duffy from 9 News has been there this afternoon and still at the scene, I understand.
Police are still yet to make an arrest over this shooting. He was shot in the arm and in the leg. He's been taken to the Royal Adelaide.
Weeknights from 8.
The gunman appears to be still armed and on the run. Police are looking for him. Frightening.
On 1395, Adelaide's 5AA.
G'day, it's Jared Walsh for Wayville Mitsubishi. Wow, there's some exciting stuff happening. The iconic Wayville Australian Motors Mitsubishi Service Centre on Goodwood Road is going through a spectacular rebuild. So while that's in progress, please drive into Davenport Lane to drop your vehicle off for servicing. As always, you can expect the very best servicing and repairs, so it's business as usual. Just drive into Davenport Lane to drop your vehicle off to the incredible Wayville service team, driven by Australian Motors.
At Lendlease Retirement Living, we create places to live well. That's why our retirement villages are designed with your well-being in mind. From friendly neighbours and social activities to surroundings that inspire an active life, you'll discover the joy of belonging to a community that cares. It's more than just somewhere to live. It's a lifestyle that supports you to thrive. Retirementbylendlease.com.au. Your place to live well.
Feeling the burn?
Cheapest chips.
Save cash with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys. Head & Shoulders huge 620ml shampoo or conditioner pump packs, only $6.99. Lynx and Rexona deodorants are hot buy at 2 for $6. 4-pack Dove soap, only $3.79 a pack. And Quilton 36-pack toilet paper, $17.99. That's only 50 cents per roll. Check out this week's catalogue for more hot buys in store and online. Save cash and live cheaper with Cheapest Chips Hot Buys.
When you want a retractable door screen, you want uninterrupted views and natural ventilation combined with protection from insects. You want Phantom Screens. Our custom-made retractable door screens can be colour matched to your existing decor and span up to 7 metres wide. And they disappear out of sight when not in use. A screen that's there 1 minute, gone the next. From the hills to the coast and everywhere in between, let the fresh air in with Phantom Screens. Get inspired online at phantomscreens.com.au.
You know us for our bright blue vans. Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. We are the proud winners of the Product Review Award for Plumbing in Australia for 2020 and 21. Did you know we offer $0 deposit interest-free payment plans, have no extra charge for after hours and can also often be at your door within the hour? Metropolitan Plumbing, Electrical and Air Conditioning. Available 24/7.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
20 minutes after 7 and it's time to Flashback with Michael Smith from 7 News. Morning to you, Michael.
Good morning, Will and Dave. Now, you guys are both big fans of the Fleurieu Peninsula. Know it well. What comes to mind when you mention Yankalilla?
Pasties.
Yeah, the bakery.
Immediate word association is the word pasty with Yankalilla.
Stop for a pasty on the way to Carricalinga. Exactly. But on Flashback this week, we're going back to the mid-90s when it wasn't the pasties or the bakery drawing people to Yank, but an apparition at the church down there. Do you remember a bloke called Father Andrew Nutter?
Yes, I do.
This is Christchurch. He was a Canadian priest who was stationed in Yankalilla. And in 1994, one of his parishioners noticed what appeared to be an apparition on the wall behind the altar in Christchurch in Yankalilla that appeared to be the Virgin Mary cradling Jesus. Some people thought it was just bad plaster work, but this became an absolute international sensation, drawing people from around the world who wanted to pray, seeking miracles. I've caught up with former Channel 7 reporter Bryony Hume, who was among the media throng sent down there to meet Father Nutter and find out what the fuss was all about.
Father Nutter was blessed with a rather unfortunate surname for a situation like this. People were sceptical in the beginning, and this was just something else for them to poke a little bit of fun at. There was some feeling that it might be salt damp, that it might be bad plumbing, but the church checked everything out. They were satisfied, and in the end they sent the bishop down to bless the shrine.
And there was a huge celebration in the street. Jazz bands, hundreds of people turned out. They ended up sort of putting a wrought iron frame around this apparition on the wall of the church, and people literally came from all over the world. They were going through visitors' books faster than you guys go through Waller's vouchers. It was that crazy.
It was like our own little version of the place in France. What's it called? Lourdes, isn't it? Is that how you pronounce it?
Lourdes, yes, exactly. But the church, as Bryony mentioned, was officially blessed, and it became a shrine.
Is it still there?
I think it is. I don't know how popular it is these days, though. But at its peak, the Tourism Commission even put out a 12-page glossy brochure encouraging international visitors to come here. And Father Nutter says in one day alone they had people from Malaysia, from Hong Kong, from Ireland. And if you look back, people really were genuinely moved, those people who believed that it was an apparition. And you know, they're brought to tears. Their voices are trembling by seeing what to some people just looks like bad plasterwork on this church wall in Yankalilla.
With your Latin American knowledge, Michael, things like this were huge in Mexico, and probably because you were in Honduras, weren't you?
Yeah, and it's something you traditionally associate with the Catholic Church, but Christ Church is an Anglican church in Yankalilla, so that was a point of difference again. Some were suggesting that Mary MacKillop may have somehow been involved in all of this, but it was a curious time that really put Yankalilla on the world map and drew incredible international media attention.
Love to hear from our Yankalilla listeners, whether it's still there. Great flashback, Michael. You can see Flashback on 7 News with Michael Smith. Sort of surprising that she didn't. The Blessed Virgin didn't appear holding a pasty in Yankalilla.
Would have been entirely appropriate given the setting.
They are a gift from God, those pasties.
There are some terrific texts coming through. I've been somewhat distracted by them because some of these suggestions for Australian-made versions of TV programs are just sensational. Given NCIS Sydney's going to start. Jim suggested Adelaide FIVEaa, which I think is tremendous. Even fits with the postcodes.
Adelaide 5, it does actually.
Lisa says, I'd like to see an Aussie version of The Office. That'd be good. Australian office culture. Greg says, make an Australian Baywatch at Glenelg. No-brainer. Rob says, with our current crop of politicians, we could make the most boring version of West Wing ever. Sue says, I Love Lucy. We've got the star of the show already. She's talking about Nicole Kidman, and maybe Pembo could play the Cuban Ricky. Ricky Ricardo.
Muy bien.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like this very much.
You've got a bit of Ricky. I think you're more Ricky Ricardo than Javier Bardem is. I was surprised about that casting choice.
Javier Bardem after No Country for Old Men.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
He's not carrying a gas cylinder in it, is he?
No, that's right. Punching for tossing coins.
I reckon they should do Baywatch Aldinga, where the whole plot can be that, someone's got their VN Commodore bogged at 6:15 on Australia Day.
Oh, that's great.
That's the sort of thing. And then there'd be some, local meth heads running around the back of the Nollunga Hospital had to be rounded up. That's the sort of stuff that, it's just like a day in the life down south.
There's a free one for you, Paramount Plus. All right.
Bit of trouble outside the Colonnades Tavern.
Keep them coming in. 82230000 or text us on the Telstra Stormount Barker text line. Last night on the 5AA Sports Show, Rowie caught up with Tom Jonas for a bit of a look inside Port's pre-season.
Privileged to be holding the reins for another year and hopefully even more successful one to come.
Yeah, that number one jumper looks good on you now. 4 years.
Yeah, it was a bit odd at first, but I think people have kind of got used to it. But I think essentially, I'm still the same person, same leader, and very lucky to be leading a great group of blokes.
Good example of a guy. It proves you don't need to be loud, outspoken and bombastic to be a leader.
I totally agree. Tom Jonas just seems like a stand-up bloke, doesn't he?
Yep. He has the aura of a bloke you wouldn't want to let down if you're a teammate.
No.
Some people lead by example.
Exactly.
You just go, well, that's the standard.
Yeah.
Yeah, I reckon a lot sometimes gets made when you assess the leadership capacity of sports people about how well they perform in the media.
Yes.
And because that's our insight of the personality of the people, but in reality, it's a pretty small component of it.
Yeah, that certainly is. It's going to be a massive year for Port. The expectations couldn't be any higher. It's going to be a tough year for Ken Hinkley. I think potentially it's his final year. It feels like if they fall short, then there'll be a hard conversation to be had. And I'm not saying that as a knocker. It just seems, because I really like the guy and I know that all the players love him.
Yeah, well, I think if you ask the majority of the fan base, they'd be 100% in agreement with you.
Yeah, I'm not trying to beat it up as a story, but logic would suggest that very much things are at that point. I reckon he'd probably know that too.
Yeah, I think he's a realist. He'd read the tea leaves. Yeah, it's a huge year ahead. 27 minutes after 7, 5AA News is coming up, and immediately after it,
9 to 10 out of 10 every time.
Matt Abraham will join us.
Like to win a brand new Yaris Cross Hybrid? Well, book a Toyota Genuine Service at your local dealership, either online or via the My Toyota app, and as a thank you for supporting us, we'll automatically enter your name into the draw. There are also 12 $500 Ampol fuel cards to be won. Book today and you could drive away in a brand new Yaris Cross Hybrid. Oh, what a feeling. Toyota. See toyota.com.au/Winnie Yaris Cross for full T's and C's. SANT permit number T211816.
Get the latest kitchen and bathroom brands at Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies. The ABK Supplies showroom has just been updated to showcase sinkware for all budgets, including Oliveri, Abbey, Mir, Castano, BUK and classic durable fine fire clay sinks from 1901 and Turner Hastings. With finishes in polished and brushed stainless steel, brushed nickel, bronze and many other finishes. Your kitchen or laundry will be stylish and timeless. Adelaide Bathroom and Kitchen Supplies, Lower North East Road, opposite Dernancourt Village.
Now, there's loads of benefits that come with being an RAA member. Will?
Yeah, there are. Right now, I'll give you one. Yeah, you want one? You'll save 4 cents per litre per day on fuel at EG and Caltex Woolworth fuel and convenience stores. There's one.
Well, I'll tell you what, we had Mark Borlace on yesterday talking about fuel prices, and look, considering the price of fuel at the moment, that is a huge benefit. Save 4 cents per litre per day on fuel.
There's no minimum spend or additional purchase required either, so you don't have to buy half a dozen chocolate bars or a packet of chips to get your 4 cents off per litre.
No tricks with the RAA. Just show your My RAA app or flash your RAA card at one of the 35 participating stores across South Australia to save.
This offer is only available for a limited time, so make the most of it. Search RAA member benefits for more information. Terms and conditions apply.
With continued cases of COVID-19 across South Australia, now's the time to book your booster. Boosters increase your protection against all COVID-19 variants, including Omicron, and they're available 3 months from your second dose. Plus, there are now more clinics and more appointments to choose from. Book your booster at your local GP, pharmacy or SA Health clinic. Book your booster now at covidvaccine.sa.gov.au. A message from the Government of South Australia.
I'm Kathy Nagel, the Chief Executive Officer at Western Hospital, Henley Beach. Plastic surgery is sometimes a choice of treatment for scars and other disorders, or it's a choice for improving body image and emotional health. Western Hospital has highly respected plastic surgeons who conduct both clinically indicated and cosmetic surgery. Cosmetic surgery, ranging from liposuction to facelifts, is all completed by qualified plastic surgeons in a hospital environment. For more information, visit westernhospital.com.au.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 25 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
The CBD is getting another high rise. Adelaide Council has sold the block of land on the corner of Puri and Frome, which has been home to City Beach since the 1990s. Next DC will build a $100 million data centre on the site. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor says selling off some of their land is about generating revenue.
This has been part of a 2 to 3 year journey for us. We did a massive piece of work in terms of strategic property review. We've got about $500 million in assets, and we actually want to generate significant funds to reinvest in the city's future.
There's been a serious crash at Norwood. A car's hit a tree on Portrush Road near the intersection of William Street. There are traffic restrictions on Portrush Road. The search for the shark at the centre of Sydney's first fatal attack in almost 60 years is continuing this morning. Rockfishers saw the person getting dragged underwater by the predator near Little Bay Beach yesterday. Local Mayor Dylan Parker says it's extremely disturbing for residents.
To lose someone on our coastline like this is chilling to the core. The coast is our backyard. Little Bay is normally a calm, quiet, family-friendly beach.
There's a new scandal involving the royal family. This time, police are investigating Prince Charles's charity. Nine's UK correspondent Brett McLeod has more.
Scotland Yard has revealed they're looking into the Prince's foundation after media reporting alleging offers of help were made to secure honours and citizenship for a Saudi national. A former aide to Prince Charles quit as chief executive of the charity after claims he was at the centre of the effort to help a Saudi billionaire donor. Clarence House says Charles has no knowledge of the alleged offers, and the charity has offered full cooperation. The timing couldn't be worse for the royal family, coming a day after Prince Andrew's multi-million-dollar settlement in a sexual assault lawsuit.
NATO's Secretary-General is not convinced the threat of a Russian invasion in Ukraine has lessened. Moscow yesterday promised it was pulling back some of its troops now drills in Crimea have ended, but Jens Stoltenberg says they've not yet seen any evidence of a withdrawal. It's almost Adelaide Fringe time. The festival, which officially starts tomorrow night, will run for a month, featuring more than 1,000 shows. Director Heather Kroll says an Indigenous welcoming ceremony will be held tonight.
In Victoria Square at 4:30, and we're doing it with an absolutely beautiful welcome ceremony with many, many dance groups from all over Australia. We have Ghana dance groups, but we also have people from further afield in South Australia and even a group coming down from the Torres Strait as well.
Now Now turning to 5AA Sport, here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Adelaide won't play its internal trial match tomorrow as the club deals with players who have tested positive to COVID or are in isolation. There's a total of 16 players unavailable for the match due to those issues and other existing injuries. Fitness guru Darren Burgess telling Rowie COVID has been an issue for the squad already.
How many players on your list of 45 are yet to get COVID? Can you answer that one?
There's probably a bit less than a third.
Meantime, Port Adelaide has announced its leadership team for 2022 with Tom Jonas to captain the side for a fourth season. Ollie Wines and Darcy Byrne-Jones will be his deputies. Supercars teams have begun testing 2 weeks out from the start of the season at Eastern Creek. Two-time champion Shane van Gisbergen's confident his team has produced a car worthy of winning another championship. The Kiwi says testing at Queensland Raceway is always fun.
It's the kind of track that really shows up where you're lacking, I think, in our car. So that's what we're trying to do, find some things out, and our car's awesome.
To soccer, and second half action is just about to begin in European Champions League. Inter Milan and Liverpool still locked at 0-0. There's one other game on with Salzburg leading Bayern Munich 1-0. And Melbourne Cup winner Very Elegant has gained entry to the All-Star Mile by topping the public vote. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
At Salisbury Heights, vehicle find look out for on Target Hill Road near Stanford Road. Norwood, got a Carver Tree, Port Rush Road near the Parade. It's down at one lane both directions. They're avoided if you can. Elizabeth Grove, streetlight repair works continue. Main North Road near Haydown Road. Speeds are down to 40, got a lane close there too. And Cameras, Cavan Road, Dry Creek and Kettleville Terrace at Kent Town. The King 45th anniversary sale is on now. Save up to 50% on Australian Design award-winning furniture. Sale on now. Visit the King Keswick showroom today. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
A cloudy Thursday on the way with a top of 25, partly cloudy tomorrow 24 and 26 on Saturday. Right now it's 17 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes to 8 o'clock. John Blake coming up before 8. We'll check on the weather for you very shortly. Then after 8 o'clock today, breaking at 8, we'll be speaking with the director of Gluttony. Fringe season starts tomorrow night. Feels like the year's still starting, but we're fully into festival season in Adelaide as of tomorrow. We are fully into election season too, and it really started to feel like it this week. So a good moment to catch up with Matt Abraham, thanks to your local Mitre 10. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great prices. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10.
Mitre 10 out of 10 every time.
Good morning to you, Matt.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, David.
It certainly did feel like the election kicked off in a major way over the weekend. A lot of announcements from both sides, but the big headline-grabbing moment came on Saturday at the Adelaide Aquatic Centre, Matt.
It did. I mean, when opposition leader Peter Malinauskas, for reasons best known to himself, took his shirt off and revealed, I don't know, a frightening level of body conditioning.
Frightening or jealousy-inducing?
Well, if I take my rashie off on the beach, Greenpeace try to push me out to sea.
Keep him wet.
So I'm not one to criticise or judge, although I will be doing that in my column in the Sunday Mail. But look, it was really the opening shot of the election campaign in many ways, and I wonder whether I think we'll probably, whatever happens on March 19 or a week after March 19, when we find out how the election's going, who's won the election, we'll probably look back at that as a turning point one way or another. But as you said, Will, really the start of the election campaign, and part of me thinks it was a stroke of genius by Peter Malinauskas. But then I keep reminding myself that I also thought Nick Xenophon's Bollywood ad was a stroke of genius. So I'm hedging my bets.
If it's a stroke of genius, what came first, the Aquatic Centre policy or the decision to just find somewhere that he can get his top off?
Exactly. No, go on, sorry.
I was just going to say, it felt like it was, if it was the opening salvo of the election campaign, it was sort of the opening weekend when it felt like a campaign proper. It felt like Labor stole the momentum, didn't it?
I think so. I mean, it's a smart policy, and it's sort of a good times policy in a way, and it's something I'm trying to explore. Is this what we want, or do we want sort of substance, I suppose, or a blend of both? But it really did grab, not only grab the headlines, but the fact that they've promised an $80 million pool to either replace or build a brand new one, replace or maybe relocate a pool, paid fully by the taxpayer and owned by the state government, was a real, was unexpected, I think. And we then had, if you contrast, I suppose, the TV imagery, and this is where so much of election campaigns, and so much of politics is won and lost. There's Peter Malinauskas splashing around the pool, with his little girl, his daughter, and having a good time. And then out comes Rob Lucas, who, and look. I like Rob Lucas. Can I preface it with this? I like him. I've known him a long time.
Hold on to your seat, Rob, wherever you are.
The butt's coming.
But he really did look like Marvin the paranoid android, coming out and going, oh, well, that's all right for them. But we were already looking at a plan that was going to be there with the Adelaide City, in with the Adelaide City Council. Well, I was driving to the boat ramp listening to you guys on Monday talking about the Adelaide City Council, and I thought to myself, you're quite right. They don't have a great record for sort of backing winners, and they almost jinx things that they get involved in. And you can see why Labor's decided, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to go into any hybrid with the Adelaide City Council. They can just sort of wander off. We're going to do this. This will be a state government thing. It'll be fully government owned and fully government run, and it's expensive at $80 million.
Do you think, Matt, quite clearly, that the fact that one of the first big Labor announcements of the phony campaign that this Saturday with issuing the writs becomes the formal campaign, the fact that they chose to do that in the state seat of Adelaide, that is really absolutely pivotal. If Labor's going to find a path to victory, they've got to knock off Rachel Sanderson. And don't you think that in hindsight, the decision by the Labor Party to install Lucy Hood as the candidate so early in the piece, I think she was pre-selected almost 18 months ago, has potentially paid dividends for them, because it's given her pretty much a year longer than most candidates get to get out there and knock on doors.
It is. It was smart planning. They have identified it as, it is one of the seats under 2%. It is a vulnerable seat. Rachel Sanderson is a good on-the-ground campaigner. She's consistently underestimated by Labor, certainly at the last election. She's a hard person to beat.
Yeah, I agree.
I put her in the Nicole Flint category, in the Nicole Flint category in terms of being a hard operator who holds a seat that should be, in some ways, Labor. But yes, this is clearly targeted at that seat. And the Liberals I talk to, they sort of see Labor winning Adelaide. Now, I don't know if the Labor will win Adelaide, of course, but they sort of seeing that as one that Labor's going to have in the bag. And they're sort of weighing up, well, we've got to win weight off Sam DeLuc. I've already said I don't think that's going to be easy. But, the Liberal Party still hasn't, for instance, pre-selected or has only just pre-selected candidates in some of its country seats, which it has to win, like Stewart, for instance. Like Frome, I think. But, so they, that is a bit of a challenge, because you do need, in these critical seats, to have good candidates and have them bedded in and sort of out there and people getting to know their faces. And that's what they've done with Lucy Hood. And you're right, you're quite right. The swimming pool is squarely directed at the voters of Adelaide. And that seat's very vulnerable. And Labor have to win that seat. That's one of the seats they've got to win if they want to win government.
Now, it's not within my purview to commandeer the spinometer, Matt, so I just want to put this to you for consideration. The Peter Malinowskis policy to review the Renewal SA decision about the Brompton gasworks site felt like the biggest opening salvo of spin of the election campaign. The way it was reported, the way it was interpreted, the way it's played out on social media, on the FIVEaa Facebook site and Twitter site. There are those that are Crows fans and people saying, good, right decision is going to be made here, and others saying, hang on, a commitment to review isn't a commitment to change anything. What did you make of that on I think it was on Monday morning?
Well, it's only going to be effective if the government hasn't signed on the dotted line with the Victorian developer who's going to build on the site. And then, now, if they've got a day to do that, because as of tomorrow, and I know you're hugely excited by this, as of tomorrow, the government's in caretaker mode. The actual election starts tomorrow when the writs are issued by the governor, and he formally dissolves the House of Assembly and issues writs for the election. So after that, the government's in caretaker mode, and the conventions are you can't sign any major contracts or make any major contracts or undertakings. So I don't think they've signed that yet with the developer.
They haven't, no.
Yeah, and it is open to Labor to review, and I think it will be, it's another policy that's aimed at popularity, very much so, and it was a strange decision. I know it was one of those independent decisions taken by a government review, but sometimes, I think Rob Lucas is too much of a treasurer and not enough a campaigner. And letting the Crows HQ be built at Bowden would have been, hugely popular, I think. So it's another example of Peter Malinowskis, going for popularity, probably over policy, and a review. I would think, they've junked things before. The Labor government's junked major contracts. We're seeing governments in Victoria blow millions of dollars on freeway contracts that have been junked after an election. So it's possible that they'll be able to do that, and it would be popular.
I thought that the one strong counter-argument that Mally had to the government on that was to say, well, hang on, you guys tore up the contract with the V8s. And that was tactically, to your point about the populist nature of it, a good ploy to remind the people who are still annoyed about that the V8s is on their dance card as well as something to change.
Exactly. Governments can do these things, and we're in a situation where, I know this is going to sound funny, but you've got the government questioning $80 million. Now we're running up debt. Rob Lucas has run up debt levels to like dizzying heights. We're in the tens of billions of dollars in debt, and I think so much money has been thrown around by both all state governments and the federal government to basically keep the economies from drowning during the 2 years of COVID. That I reckon electors out there now, talk of $80 million. It sounds like small change.
Found it down the back of the sofa.
Yeah, you used to get your car serviced. You think it was bad if you paid $100, or you got a plumber out, it'd be $100. Now you don't get anything for under $500.
Yeah.
Like, these things, people just soak them up, and it's a bit like that on a bigger scale with governments. Like, you would have been shocked at one stage to have somebody tearing up a contract, and it might cost us $5, $6, $7 million. And now it's like, well, what's the big deal? Like we're blowing. So much money has been blown on COVID. You drive up Green Hill Road, that rat. We can go and get your rats, free rats if need to test for COVID. That's an enormous complex. There's about one car at a time going in there.
Yeah.
Like, they've got half the street blocked off. I thought you drive by and think, how much is this costing? Like, it's
yeah.
Just the whole infrastructure that's been built up around COVID, I think, has skewed any public debate about the cost of things. It doesn't really hurt anymore.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It's a good point. Let's rate some spin.
5 to 10 out of 10 every time.
Now this goes back to last Sunday, but I just can't resist it. It's a South Road announcement by Prime Minister Scott Morrison. The sound you can hear in the background. The sound you can hear in the background is of Premier Steve Marshall banging his head gently against a Stobie pole. But so this is the voice of Scott Morrison and then Corey Wingard helping out.
The full financial commitment of the Commonwealth Government to this city shaping. Got to be careful with that. The city shaping. I'm sure that'll get a run. The city shaping infrastructure.
Prime Minister, you're 100% correct. This section of South Road is shitty. It's been shitty for a long time for South Australia, and we are fixing it. So I thank you very much for that.
Oh, good recovery. Good recovery by Corey, I thought.
I mean, it was, but he didn't say the road was shitty. He said the city was shitty. But anyway, for degree of difficulty, he's like the skier who sort of does the double flip, lands, falls over and then gets back up on the skis. I am giving Corey 4.25.
Oh. Good on you, Matt.
Great stuff, Matt.
Matt Abraham, your local Mitre 10. Thanks to your local Mitre 10. Friendly service, expert advice, quality brands at great price. That's mighty helpful, Mitre 10. Let's check traffic. Is your BMW due for a service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
Thanks, Will. At Salisbury Heights, got a vehicle fired. Look out for on Target Hill Road near Stanford Road. Norwood, Carvey Tree, Portrush Road near the Parade, down to one lane both directions. Darlington works on Flagstaff Road, continue near the South Road intersection. And got a few cameras for the drive-in today. Decatable Terrace, Kent Down, Hamlin Road, Elizabeth Downs, and Salisbury Highway at Dry Creek. RAA members can now save 4 cents per litre per day at EG and Caltex Woolworths fuel and convenience stores. Search RAA member benefits today. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Just apologies to Penny Pratt, who's been pre-selected as the Liberal candidate for the seat of Frome, which has been working for a couple of years now, but we misspoke in talking about a rural seat there. 9 minutes to 8. John Blake coming up in just a moment. Breaking at 8 after 8 o'clock. Back with more in a moment.
Just imagine living mortgage-free in absolute luxury at one of Adelaide's most sought-after beachside addresses. The Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery is giving you the chance to win your own slice of paradise in beautiful Somerton Park. The $3 million fully furnished Scott Salisbury Grand Prize is what dreams are made of, and it comes with $500,000 cash. Tickets sell fast. Get yours today. homelottery.com.au. Licence M14133.
Don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift.
When you need a forklift, don't just get a forklift, get a Toyota forklift. Get the world's #1 forklift brand. Get legendary Toyota reliability, get world-leading safety, and get it from toyotamaterialhandling.com.au. Get the Toyota Forklift Advantage. For sales, service, and hire,
Get a Toyota forklift.
Now, you all know that I love my local Mitre 10. I reckon I'm in there every weekend. It's my one-stop shop for all my DIY jobs, whether it's something indoors that needs fixing or something out in the garden. They'll have everything you need. The staff are great too. They'll happily give you advice on the best products to help you get all those jobs done.
So if you're planning on some home improvements or have some fix-it jobs to do, or just want to spruce things up a bit around the home or in the garden, head into your local mighty helpful Mitre 10 where you can shop in-store or use their click and collect option to order online. Most stores have delivery options available as well.
So for great prices on the right products for the job, along with helpful advice, choose Mighty Helpful Mitre 10. Quality brands at great prices.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
Good schnitzels are everywhere, but it's hard to find a schnitzel so big, crunchy and tasty. Survivors have warned, whatever you do, don't eat the day before. St Kilda Beach Hotel schnitzels are cut by the resident butcher. They're rolled in the crispiest crumbs, then deep fried to perfection, all in-house. Take the kids to St Kilda Playground, then cross the road to the St Kilda Hotel for the schnitzel of a lifetime. There's a table waiting for you at the St Kilda Beach Hotel.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube.
Glyderol Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 to 8, John Blake in a moment. First, Jessica Braithwaite for 9 News is on the line. Jessica, good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm really enjoying the weather this morning. It's just it's nice, calm, cloudy, kind of a vibe to it. Nice and refreshing after those showers yesterday. Today will probably be mainly dry. We've still got this little sort of southerly air stream, so we might just see the odd shower just flicking in up from the coast there. But for the most part, calm and cloudy, 25 degrees and mostly dry for today. And then after that, we've just got this really amazing run of weather. The weather's being sort of stuck in this pattern, but it's really good for us because it's just really nice. So Friday, partly cloudy, 24 degrees. Saturday, looking sunny with 26 degrees, sort of really settling into the mid-20s across the weekend, partly cloudy and 23 degrees for Sunday. That's continuing into the start of next week, partly cloudy and 23 degrees again. After that, it starts to warm up a little bit, but just, nicely, nothing too full on. So mostly sunny and 27 degrees for Tuesday, and nice and sunny again, and 30 degrees for Wednesday. I'm starting to feel like I'm just repeating myself a lot, but the weather is just so nice, and that's what we've got.
And consistently nice, as we've just learned. That's great. Thank you, Jessica. Jessica Braithwaite for 9 News. It's time for John Blake. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions. They're looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
Now, the latest news with Wallace Fogg.
Good morning, early risers. This is Wallace Fogg with another 5AA News Update. One of Australia's biggest cattle stations in WA, currently owned by Chinese interests, is about to be bought by Twiggy Forrest for $32 million. The Chinese government said yesterday it's outrageous how Australia just thinks it can keep on buying Chinese assets, and this needs to be stopped. The Chinese people have vented their rage online, saying things like, before you know it, Australia will take over the whole of China and we're losing our identity. In other news, Australian star Natalie Imbruglia has come out in support of Neighbours, appealing to fans to continue their fight to save the iconic TV soap opera. Natalie joined Neighbours in 1992 as a 16-year-old, but left the show 2 years later to pursue her music career. And of course, the rest is Australian music history. She's now 47 and had one hit. Prince Andrew has told how he was shamelessly groomed by Ghislaine Maxwell to have sex with numerous teenage girls. He said she slowly gained my trust by promising me sex with teenagers. His lawyers said yesterday that he won't be pursuing this in court because she's already in jail and he'd rather move on. And finally, Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor has called upon both sides of politics to chip in and get the North Adelaide Aquatic Centre rebuilt. She said it's going to contribute $190 million to the community and create hundreds of jobs through construction and ongoing employment. She said, I had the opportunity to get the whole thing built for nothing, but ignoring the bottomless pit of public money would have been a slap in the face for democracy. This will be a win-win for everybody, except perhaps the taxpayer. And that's the news for this Thursday. I'm Wallace Fogg. More 5AA news coming up at 8 o'clock, or as close as we can get.
Yeah, why get one for free when you can get other people to pay for it anyway?
Absolutely.
Now, we got some news through from SAPOL at Salisbury Heights, a vehicle fire with impacts for all directions. Target Hill Road at Stanford Road reports at this stage the truck lost its brakes coming down the hill on Target Hill Road. Thank you for that correspondence. We'll keep an eye on that for you. And if you've got an update for us, folks, you've been through the area and you've got eyes on it, 8223 0000 is the number.
For 38 years, Steinborner Automotive has always been well worth the trip. And right now, Steinborner Automotive Gawler has stocked up with 30 hand-picked 2018-19 ZB Commodores. Choose from a range of factory edition or special black edition with black roof and black wheels. That's 2018 and 19 ZB Commodores from $23,990, all with a balance of factory warranty. View all their used vehicles at steinborner.com.au. Steinborner Automotive. It's well worth a trip.
The Australian-made mattress floor stock clearance on now at Harvey Norman. All discontinued floor stock must go. Now's the time to upgrade to an Australian-made mattress or ensemble and support local manufacturers. Our range includes the big-name brands Sleepmaker, Sealy Posturepedic and King Coil by A.H. Beard. This is your chance to buy a quality Australian-made mattress or ensemble at an amazing price. All discontinued floor stock must go. The Australian-made mattress floor stock clearance on now at Harvey Norman.
Go! Mum? Dad?
Hey, honey.
I've met someone.
Oh my God, is he a doctor? A lawyer? Is he a surgeon?
He's a concreter. From Adelaide Exposed Concrete.
But why? Didn't you say so?
At Adelaide Exposed Concrete, we're committed to the highest standards of service, design and workmanship.
Finally, we've got a concreter in the family.
Adelaide Exposed Concrete. Best on ground, all year round.
Don't let car trouble put the brakes on your adventures. FIVEaa now offers free FIVEaa roadside assist for a year with every new comprehensive car policy purchased before February 28, 2022. That's 24/7 assistance all year round. So go with FIVEaa, the go-to insurance for retirees. Call 13 50 50 or go online today. FIVEaa. Get set, go. T's and C's apply. FIVEaa is an authorised representative of the product issuer AAI Limited. Read the PDS and TMD. Call for copies.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
Cloudy and 25 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra offers clinical Pilates and group exercise classes claimable on private health. 6 locations. physioextra.com.
Emergency crews are at the scene of a serious crash at Norwood. A ute hit a tree on Portrush Road near the intersection of William Street just before 7 a.m. The driver managed to free himself by climbing out the window. His passenger is being treated by paramedics. There are traffic delays on Portrush Road. City Beach is being replaced by a $100 million data centre. Adelaide Council has sold the prime piece of real estate on the corner of Pirrie and Frome, and Next DC will be moving in. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor says it's a good get for the CBD.
I'm really looking forward to this company coming in. This is going to be incredible. A company like this with such a global reputation is going to really cement our reputation as a city where it's affordable and innovative place to do business.
The federal government is rejecting claims it's compromising Australia's national security. The boss of Australia's key spy agency is urging both the Coalition and Labor to stop politicising the issue. The government claims the opposition is a puppet of China. Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews says she respects the work of ASIO, but argues the public deserves to know Labor is a risk.
I'm very comfortable with the Coalition government pointing out what our track record has been on national security. That is what is the most important thing for the Australian people to understand at the moment.
The price of meat is up. The lack of supply and increased demand is driving up costs. Meat and Livestock Australia's Managing Director Jason Strong says while it's good news for producers, the prices are being felt at the checkout.
Across the high end, we're talking, tens of dollars. They've gone up per kilo. In some cases, it might be 20 or 30%. But across other products, so minces and those everyday items, it's a much smaller increase. But it's still 5, 10, 15% in some cases. So it's definitely been an increase.
Beaches in Sydney's eastern suburbs will remain closed today as the search continues for the shark who killed a swimmer yesterday afternoon. Nine's Clinton Maynard reports.
Beaches are closed. There are jet skis patrolling the water, drones are in the air, police are scouring the rocks, smart drum lines are being set up, and onlookers are staying out of the water. The first fatal shark attack in almost 60 years happened close to the shoreline.
Seeing that happen like 10 metres away from the rocks is
I don't know how I'm going to go forward with that.
Surf lifesaving Stephen Pearce.
It's anywhere between 4 and 5 metres in length. It's a huge shark.
So far, there's no sign. A decision will be made late this afternoon on when the beaches will reopen.
Volunteers at this year's Clean Up Australia Day will count how many single-use face masks they pull from the environment. It comes amid concerns Australians are not disposing of their masks correctly. But Clean Up Australia Day Chair Pip Kiernan says masks aren't the only problem.
And unfortunately, over the last 2 years, our habits have changed. We have had a surge in single-use items, so whether it's coffee cups because the cafe won't take the reusable one, masks, takeaway packaging, sanitised wipes. The proportion of these do end up as litter, unfortunately.
Mining giant BHP is pushing ahead with a COVID vaccine mandate, leaving up to 700 employees in danger of losing their job. The company's updated policy came into effect on January 31. Now turning to 5AA Sport and Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Let's start with football, and Port Adelaide skipper Tom Jonas says he's honoured to again be named captain for a 4th season. The 31-year-old telling Rowie he thinks he's a better leader than when he started.
I think I've grown in the empathy space and the connection space, and hopefully that's translating to sort of how the boys see me as a leader.
The Power will play an internal trial tomorrow, but the Crows match has been called off, with 16 players unavailable because they've either got COVID, are close contacts or are injured. Former Australian Test captain Mark Taylor is concerned for the future of rising batsman Will Pucovski after yet another concussion. The youngster missed the entire Test summer after a pre-season head knock and suffered another concussion just 2 days into his return for Victoria. Taylor telling Wide World of Sports 11 head knocks is far too many at just 24 years of age.
He needs to come back to the game with some sort of strategy of how he is going to deal with this, if that is possible. Because, as you say, there's obviously a susceptibility there against concussion.
To soccer, and Melbourne Victory's poor run of form in the A-League has continued after going down 2-0 against the Western Sydney Wanderers. But Wellington is enjoying a hot run of form, unbeaten in its last 5 after another 3-0 win against the Brisbane Roar. Meantime, in the European Champions League, there's about 15 minutes to play in 2 games. Inter Milan and Liverpool still locked at 0-0, while Salzburg leads Bayern Munich 1-0. And 2-time NBA MVP Giannis Antetokounmpo has dropped 50 points to help his Milwaukee Bucks to a 128-119 point win against the Indiana Pacers. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
At Salisbury Heights, got a smash and vehicle fire to look out for. Target Hill Road near Stamford Road. That intersection is currently closed. Find an alternative route. Norwood got a nasty crash. Portrush Road near the Parade. Down in one lane both directions. Extensive delays there. And Hillbank got a blackout causing traffic lights to play up Main North Road near Blacktop Road. Look out for a camera too. Young Street at Unley. Still looking for that perfect property to buy? If you haven't seen Turner Real Estate, you haven't seen them all. To view their off-market listings and see them first, visit turnerrealestate.com. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
Cloudy 25 today, 24 tomorrow, partly cloudy, Saturday sunny 26. Right now it's 18 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
There's nothing left. 7 minutes after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. We'll talk Gluttony, the Gluttony venue at the Fringe. It's all starting tomorrow night, February 17th, February 18 tomorrow, and we're underway festival season. Mad March starting February 18. We don't quite appropriately name that whole period of the year, but it's starting as of tomorrow. And also, we are going to play Pick the Beatles after 8:30 today. So if you're a Beatles aficionado,
I wonder if it's going to be like yesterday.
Oh, that was tough.
That was really tough.
That rewarded the diehards yesterday.
Great work by Luce.
She's a taskmaster.
Oh yeah,
she's not into the idea of dumbing down quizzes and things.
No, it wasn't like, here's She Loves You in its entirety. And,
I wonder what it is.
Ticket to Ride.
The clue is she loves...
Yeah, that's right. Finish this sentence. I want to hold your blank.
Yeah.
The mind boggles. Is it knee?
We're in Lucy's World now.
Beer? We are in Lucy's World.
8 minutes after 8, we're going to be giving away those tickets after 8:30 today.
Let's break some 8.
A lot of fun. Let's break some 8.
You remember a couple of weeks ago we broke the story about the shambles that had emerged involving the 20,000 odd registered voters who were going to struggle to vote in the event, in the projected event that they'd contract the coronavirus in the 2 weeks leading up to the state election. The Electoral Commission has been working with SA Health to resolve that, and they've come up with a drive-through system similar to the RATS delivery one that looks like it's going to solve that problem. Well, without wanting to add to the Electoral Commission's dance card, we understand that there's another problem that has emerged, and it involves the timing of postal votes being organised. Now, this is something that has the potential to affect people who are maybe FIFO workers who are going away interstate for an extended work trip. It also has, most interestingly, the potential to affect grey nomads, people who are heading off for an extended caravanning holiday or driving around Australia. In fact, the source of this story is a couple, a married couple, who have contacted us in relation to correspondence they've received from the Electoral Commission that highlights this problem. So what it means is that people who are away on holiday or for work reasons before the 5th of March and who won't be back in South Australia by the 19th of March, which is polling day, they've been told that they are, quote, exempt and excluded from voting in the state election. Now, the reason for this is because the Electoral Commission isn't organising postal votes before the 5th of March. So in the case of this couple, they're going on a trip the week before. They asked the Electoral Commission if they can do a postal vote, and they were told that it's not possible because they're not going to be ready until March 5. So we're not sure how many people are going to be in that boat, but it will basically be everyone who finds themselves in that situation. I feel sorry for the Electoral Commission with all of this stuff. It's the job of the Parliament to fix things. I've heard some people say, well, why doesn't the Electoral Commission just come up with a different plan? Well, the Electoral Commission has to work within the parameters of the legislation that governs it. It's not some organisation that can just dream up voting systems that it's not sort of empowered by statute to do. The laws weren't fixed last year, and it's not a good look for anyone, basically, on North Terrace, that through squabbling over optional preferential voting, corflutes, and all of the other things that were piled into that omnibus bill, neither the Liberal Party, the Labor Party, nor any of the independents could actually see fit to come up with legislation that the Electoral Commission needs to do its job properly.
Yeah, it's embarrassing for the entire institution of Parliament that no one saw the freight train coming.
It's their job to fix stuff.
And you're right about the Electoral Commission too, because the last thing you want in the normal order of business sans pandemic is people going, you know what, I've got this great idea about how voting should work.
Yeah, that's right, exactly.
So it should be tightly bound. It should be tightly held by the law.
Yeah.
All right, let's get to some of the stories of the morning. The developing stories, a sad one out of New South Wales, where there's been the first fatal shark attack in almost 60 years. A swimmer killed at Little Bay on Wednesday. It's incredibly graphic. It was captured on film, and it's doing the rounds on social media at the moment. The local council, Randwick Council, have closed beaches from Clovelly to La Perouse for 24 hours. On Sunrise this morning, they've caught up with some people that are a bit closer to this sort of thing, starting with Shane Dorr, who's a Westpac helicopter pilot, who said they're still looking for the shark.
At this stage, no shark has been sighted, but as you've mentioned, we've got the Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Service out there at the moment, over my shoulder, currently out there doing a check of the area. They're working in conjunction with police, water police, Pol Air have been out, ground police, as well as members from Surf Lifesaving New South Wales and local lifeguards.
Well, they also caught up with George Shales, the New South Wales Surf Lifesaving President.
The New South Wales Government provide significant funding to Surf Lifesaving New South Wales for the provision of UAVs, drones, which across the New South Wales coastline there's 50 locations which are patrolled. And obviously during peak periods that patrolling steps up. So in relation to the activities in relation to prevention, we believe that that is adequate at this time.
As you might imagine, with their proximity to a big story on Channel 7 Sunrise program this morning. Back here in Adelaide for not the state political scene, but the federal political scene. Pretty extraordinary speech made by the outgoing member for Boothby, Nicole Flint, yesterday.
Last March, in response to an emotional speech given by me in this place, the Leader of the Opposition told the press gallery and the Australian people that he would act when sexist and misogynist, dangerous behaviour was drawn to his attention. Well, he hasn't, despite the further speeches I've given in this place, the letters I have written to him, and the numerous newspaper reports, especially since last December, when online attacks on me reached a disgusting new low of sexism and misogyny. It's tempting to describe the Leader of the Opposition with a single word, a four-letter word. It begins with L and it ends with R, but that would be unparliamentary, Mr. Speaker, and so I won't. Instead, I call on him again to finally show some leadership on the issue of women's safety in public life, because it's not just me who is copying this behaviour. It's not just me who's being abused by men and some women on the left. It's senior ABC journalists like Lee Sales, Jane Norman, Lisa Miller. It's businesswomen like Sal Grover.
It does seem that sympathy for victims of online abuse is largely dependent on their political allegiances.
Oh, for sure. There's the capacity on both sides of politics for people to dehumanise their opponents so much that, you know, there's no amount of hatred that is deemed to be too great. And I think it's really sad that Nicole Flint is just, you know, we broke that story. I was, you know, driving along in the car one day with my daughter Sophie in the car, and she rang and she was on speaker and she said, "I'm out." And I said, "What do you mean you're out?" And she said, "I'm out of politics. I've had a gutful. I hate it." And the backdrop to that, and it wasn't just Labor stuff, it was when all the stuff was going on with the Libs, with Brittany Higgins and so on. And it's really interesting talking to my teenage daughter about it, because she's going, God, that poor woman, she just sounded so totally distraught by it. And like some people are wide, like, I mean, I couldn't give a toss what anyone says about me. And like, my wife is tough as nails as well, and you know, when she was in politics, she used to laugh that she'd walk down the street knowing that 4 out of every 10 people thought she was useless. You know, that's sort of the way democracy works. But not everyone can roll with the punches. And I think, particularly for women, and I don't say this in a sexist way, but I think that the sort of male, macho-dominated, we're going to destroy these bastards, you know, by any means necessary, to use a Richoism, whatever it takes. I think a lot of good people, and Nicole's right talking about people like the ABC broadcaster Lisa Miller, who shut down her Twitter account because of the trolling that she gets. Lee Sales has walked away from hosting 7:30, and part of that is the crap that she cops all the time. A lot of smart people, particularly women, will go, I would rather, you know, there's a billion jobs I'd rather do than going into public life.
And the nature of that abuse is different when you're a woman too.
Totally.
Because it tends to be, it's threatening and often violent. And the reality is, if you're confronted with someone who says that online and then wants to act like that in real life, you could potentially become a victim. We've seen it in the United Kingdom.
We have. And
like, it's not...
The idea that it's an abstract thing and it's
not the cut and thrust of politics.
Sticks and stones will break my bones. It's a bit more than that.
Yeah, exactly right. And it undermines everyone who wants to put their name...
My wife's first week in Parliament, a bloke who later became a Liberal MP, who was then some jumped-up little staffer twerp, barrelled up to her half-plastered in a Canberra bar and said, "Me and the guys have been talking, and the one question we've got for you is how many blokes did you have to blank to get pre-selection?" That's like, welcome to Canberra.
Yep. But that's the kind of person that would put a hashtag to women in politics, or, you know, sign up to make some sort of fawning tweet, a better look at me activism. But then the actual conduct, it's just appalling. A bit of sad news about a giant of Australian journalism, George Negus, known for 60 Minutes and foreign correspondence, been diagnosed with Alzheimer's and been moved into a Sydney nursing home. Happened late last year. but his family have just released a statement as of yesterday. They say, Mr Negus' son, Serge, says, "We continue to share wonderful family times, grateful for the care and support we've had from extended family and friends over the past few years who understand our challenges. George continues to give and receive the love and respect of us all. We appreciate all the good wishes from near and far at this time."
I jokingly say that one of my major contributions to Australian television is that I changed the way television journalists dressed. In fact, the way I dressed became a debating point. It became a talking point, almost a contractual issue about whether or not I could stop wearing ties, whether or not I needed to wear a jacket or a suit in the Sahara Desert or the Amazon jungle. What Negus wore on the box became an issue, and I think I won, because now at least people, blokes anyway, on Australian television look like normal human beings most of the time.
That was him back in 2015.
He is
speaking
the
of the
best
National
bloke.
Film Archive.
Some of our 5AA listeners will remember, it was only about 2 years ago, or it must be more because it was pre-pandemic, we had an event with the Council of the Ageing at the old theatre in Angus Street, opposite the police station. And I was lucky enough to interview him on stage, and it was all about issues facing older Australians. And he's such a great old school bloke, Negus. Like, he was coming to town and he rang me and he said, "Oh, Dave, we're going to do this properly." He said, "I want you to take me," because he loves Italy. He spent a lot of time living in Italy. He said, "Have you got a favourite Italian restaurant in Adelaide?" And I said, "Well, there's a restaurant I've loved for years called Amalfi in Frame Street." And he said, "Well, put a line through the afternoon." So we went and had lunch there, and we had the fried eggplant to start with a couple of glasses of white, and then he ordered a bottle of red. And it was just such an honour sitting there with this bloke, hearing him telling all of these great stories, famously the great interview he did with Margaret Thatcher.
Yep.
You know, when he said, "Well, people in Britain say this," and Thatcher looks at him and she goes, "Which people? Which people? Can you tell me their names?" Such a great comeback. But just the ultimate raconteur. And I'll tell you what, for anyone who's been touched by dementia, how sad that from that lunch at Amalfi 2 years ago, 2.5 years ago, from there to this. It's terrible.
Yeah, it is. 20 after 8, time for Fuel Watch, thanks to Glenelg BMW. If yours is due for a service, receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW. BP on the run, Kensington Road, Kensington Park, pretty cheap at $1.62.5. The ex-convenience at Bryans Road, Northfield, $1.59.5. Liberty Marion Road, Marion, $1.59.9. And the ex-convenience, Torrens Road, Woodville North, $1.59.9. A couple of the cheap spots to keep an eye out for this morning. We'll check traffic as well. Also thanks to a BMW. A new and independent home for BMW now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
At Salisbury Heights, got a smash and vehicle fired. Look out for on Target Hill Road near Stanford Road. That intersection is closed, so find alternative routes. Norwood, Carvey Tree, Portrush Road near the parade, down to one lane both directions. Heavy delays there. Hillbank, blackout causing traffic lights to play up on Main North Road near Blacktop Road, with cameras Cavern Road, Dry Creek, Young Street and Lee. Lunch sorted at OTR. Their delicious $5 and $6 sandwiches are ready for you, and they're just $3 every Wednesday. OTR, making life easy. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
Beijing Winter Olympics closes this Sunday. To date, our best ever. Joining us, AOC Chief Executive Matt Carroll. Not bad for a country that has no ice and really limited snow.
You know, you could probably take up, want to lose a bit of weight, the bobsleigh or the skeleton.
Excuse me, Matt, what are you suggesting there?
4 p.m. weekdays.
Yeah, the fatter you are, the quicker you go. You, Matt Carroll.
Your words, not mine.
No.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
The Isuzu D-Max is born to live. With wireless Apple CarPlay, a rear diff lock, 3.5-ton towing, plus a 5-star ANCAP safety rating. Search Isuzu D-Max.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
A day out at the movies just got better.
Come to Wallace Cinema and see movies like they should be seen on the big screen. Hear movies like they should be heard in Quake sound and taste candy bar prices like you have never seen. With Choc Tops handmade with Golden North ice cream, Fruit Chocks, Fluorio milk and so much more. Wallace Family Values, bringing value to your family. Mitcham, Mount Barker, Noarlunga and Mainline Drive-In. Wallace.com.au.
Calvary Adelaide Hospital is there when you need it, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Calvary Adelaide Hospital is the largest private emergency department in South Australia, and on-call specialists from every area on site or nearby to ensure you are treated when it's needed. Throughout this COVID-19 pandemic, Calvary Adelaide Emergency Department has implemented strict measures to ensure that your care and well-being is our #1 priority. You're in safe hands at Calvary Adelaide Hospital, corner of Pulteney and Angus Street City.
Hi, Rodney Jane here. If you've spent too much over the holidays, at Bob Jane T-Marts, we've launched Baked Beans Month with cracking interest-free deals, buy 3, get 1 free, and instant cashbacks on brands such as Bridgestone, Michelin, Yokohama and Goodyear, Australia's largest tyre range, best tyre price guarantee, and biggest alloy wheel choice. We'll look after you.
Minimum spend $300, monthly payments required. New customers must apply and be approved for a Latitude Gem Visa credit card. Conditions, fees and charges apply. Visit website or see in-store for details.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
24 minutes after 8. A couple of sort of markers of the year that have crept up on us. Saw Peter Malinowski's tweet earlier, 30 days to the state election. It's a month from this Saturday. A little bit earlier, someone texted us saying it's 2 days away from being 10 months to Christmas. And tomorrow, bizarrely, is the official start, I think, of Mad March, when the Fringe starts on the 18th of February. Daniel Michael is the director of Gluttony and joins us on 5AA Breakfast. Daniel, good morning to you.
Good morning to you.
Exciting times, Daniel. And it feels like after, you know, some of the spectre of lockdowns and what have you, it must be nice for you guys to be going into this at a time where all of the expectations are that freedoms are going to be increasing rather than decreasing.
Yeah, it has been. I mean, obviously, just in December when things started to change a little bit, we're all a bit nervous, but people seem to have worked out how to kind of live in this environment, and we've got some really great shows going ahead, and all these kind of measures that we've been doing through the pandemic when we've been running events when we kind of didn't have any COVID in South Australia was kind of practice for the real thing now. So we've got a lot of outdoor venues and the QR coding and the hand sanitising and all those kind of measures that we've gotten used to are things that will pay dividends now, I guess.
Daniel, I just want to zoom out for a moment to talk about Gluttony, and I want you to give me a sense of whether you think this is fair. When people ask me about what Gluttony is as a venue, I say it's sort of like the grown-up version of the Garden. If people have been to the Garden before, it's loud, it's packed, there's a lot of people. Gluttony feels like it's a slightly slower pace. There's wonderful food options available there. You can find a seat, you can sit down and relax a little bit more. Do you think that's a fair analysis?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think, it probably varies from year to year, but the last few years we've sold more tickets to shows than anyone else. So that's because that's what we focus on. So we try and book the absolute best talent we've got with the most varied program we can, and we don't have any rides, much to the displeasure of my 7 and 10-year-old children, but they're my harshest critics. But the idea is we want it to be an environment where my kids and my mum can enjoy themselves, and we probably think that we try and avoid things like amplified spruikers and those sort of hectic elements, because we want people to be able to come in and see a show. We want people to be able to sit down and have a glass of wine, enjoy the beautiful Rymal Lake, which is now completely in our sight. So we've got Borealis on one side of that, and then the cafe there is open, and there's a food court which looks straight onto the lake now. So it's really beautiful there at night, and we want to enhance that environment rather than try and ride over the top of it.
Do you sense, Daniel, that there's still going to be some people who are lying low? Do you think that the numbers will get back to what they were pre-COVID?
Yeah, I mean, we won't know until we do it, I guess. So there's certainly, some apprehension from some people, but I think the majority of people understand that there are sensible measures. In particular, particularly if you are concerned, we've got things like we've got 4 venues that are outdoor. One really big one, music venue called the Moa, which has got things like the orchestral show, Classical Mystery Tour. It's got Groove Terminator doing his Fatboy Slim show. So Hugh Sheridan's in there. So you can walk into Gluttony, be completely outdoors with your mask on, and have a meal or a drink or whatever, and go into a show in an outdoor venue. And I think there's capacity restrictions as well on those venues, so they're not going to be at 100%. So those sorts of things can make for a really relaxing night for someone who might be a bit concerned about those types of things. We've got 65,000 square metres of park this year, so the council were really good and they worked with us, and so there's plenty of space. We've got an entrance off Bartels Road, and that is right next to that big outdoor venue as well. So you could park your car on. This is festival hack right here. Right? I can't believe I'm telling everyone. You can park your car on Bartels Road, right? Because nobody parks over there, and there's a gate right on Bartels Road.
I'll park there now. The secret's out. Hey, Daniel, just before we let you go, we've had a couple of questions from people wanting to know: is it an event where you have to show your vaccine certificate to get in?
Yes, that was something that we discussed with SA Health early on, so that is something that people have to do on the way in, yes.
Okay, beautiful. Thank you, Daniel. Appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Daniel Michael, the director of Gluttony. How about that? There's an inside word for FIVEaa listeners about where to park, where to go, which is going to be pertinent information, David, because as you heard Daniel mention, Classical Mystery Tour is on at Gluttony, and we've got tickets to give away to this wonderful Beatles-inspired show right after FIVEaa News.
No one likes to wait, especially if you're waiting for something really amazing, like a new Mazda. Lucky, you won't have to wait too long at Mawson Lakes Mazda. Right now, you'll find new stock and demos right across the range, which means there's no compromise. You'll get everything you want and love in your new Mazda. Get behind the wheel of your dream Mazda sooner. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city.
FIVEaa, your local health food shops. Over 30 years health and wellness experience and over 300 natural health practitioners specialising in you.
Hi, I'm Natasha from FIVEaa Fairview Green. Come into any of our FIVEaa stores for this special. Organic Road Amazing Super Greens Plus 400 grams, normally $54.95, now $39.95. That's just 50 cents a serve.
FIVEaa, Colonnades, Fairview Green, Marion, Mount Barker, Monopara, Semaphore and Tanunda.
FIVEaa Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to FIVEaa Facebook or search FIVEaa on YouTube. This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
Cloudy and 25 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra Marion have a hydrotherapy pool now on site. Contact Physio Extra Marion or head to physioextra.com.
Our ever-changing city skyline is changing again. The City Council has sold the block where volleyball has been played since the 1990s on the corner of Pirie and Frome Streets. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor says it will be home to NextDC's new $100 million data centre.
That site was originally bought by council as land banking, really, for development. Volleyball SA has been there for a number of years, and we've worked very closely with them so that we could find another site for them so they stay in the city.
Police and lifesavers have converged on Sydney's east coastline after a fatal shark attack. Witnesses say they saw the swimmer grabbed by the great white off the rocks near Little Bay Beach yesterday afternoon. Westpac Lifesaver Rescue Helicopter Shane Dorr has told Nine a large-scale search is underway for the shark.
We've got a number of different assets, so through Surf Life Saving New South Wales, they've got the drone, they've got their members out on the jet skis, they've got people on the beach searching out there. We've got water police, we've got Polair who's been here yesterday and will be back again later today, and officers on the ground.
With the busy festival season about to kick off, there'll be free public transport in the city each weekend. It starts this Friday afternoon, with the exception of train services, which are undergoing electrification works. Transport Minister Corey Wingard is urging people to leave the car at home and jump on a bus or tram.
We're running extra Adelaide Loop tram services as well to make sure there's a higher frequency every 10 minutes of trams going into the east end there from the Festival Plaza down to the Botanic Gardens and also through South Terrace, so that will be a big help. And extra services on the O-Bar to help get people home at the end of the night.
The federal government claims Labor represents a risk to national security, as ASIO warns both major parties to stop politicising the issue. Nine's Michael Packey is in Canberra.
The boss of Australia's key spy agency has made his second public intervention in as many days, urging both sides of the political divide to be careful when discussing national security. It follows the government's claim Labor is a puppet of China, but ASIO Director General Mike Burgess has told the ABC foreign interference is not restricted to one side of politics.
So it's kind of equal opportunity in that regards.
Home Affairs Minister Karen Andrews argues voters deserve to be reminded of the opposition's record on security issues.
They are a risk if they were to come back into government.
National security will be a key theme right up to election day.
And the royal family is facing a fresh scandal as British police launch an investigation into Prince Charles's charitable foundation. Now turning to 5AA Sport, it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. The Crows have called off tomorrow's internal trial as they deal with players who have either got COVID, are close contacts or are injured. Paul Seedsman is one who's battling lingering concussion issues. Fitness boss Darren Burgess telling Rowie he's doing everything he can to recover.
While it's certainly not ideal, he's progressing through the protocols. He has some, really good weeks and other weeks where he's not able to do as much. So it's certainly concerning, but he's certainly attacking it with the right attitude, and we're confident he'll get back and play a part in the season.
Port Adelaide's leadership group will remain the same in 2022, with Tom Jonas set to skipper for a fourth season, while Ollie Wines and Darcy Byrne-Jones will be his deputies. Meantime, Aidan Corr and Nick Larkey have been added to North Melbourne's leadership group for the 2022 season. Captain Jack Zeeble says Corr's had a huge impact despite managing only 2 senior games last year.
He's essentially on-field a new recruit for us. Poor bugger didn't play much footy last year. He had a few injuries and missed the majority of the year, so he's going to be a huge asset for us going into 2022. He's completed most part of the pre-season, and you can just see what he brings. He brings a real hard edge. He's highly demanding of his teammates, which is exactly what we need.
Jai Simpkin, Luke McDonald, Ben Cunnington and Kane Turner round out the leadership group. To soccer, and 2 goals in the final 15 minutes has allowed Liverpool to beat Inter Milan 2-0 in the first leg of their knockout Champions League tie. Salzburg and Bayern Munich played out a 1-1 draw. And the LA Rams have held a street parade to honour the Super Bowl winning team led by quarterback Matt Stafford. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Is your BMW due for service? Receive complimentary vehicle pick-up and drop-off at Glenelg BMW.
At Croydon Park, got a breakdown on the north-south motorway at Regency Road inbound. 1 lane closed with speeds reduced. Salisbury Heights got a smash and vehicle fired. Look out for on Target Hill Road near Stanford Road. That intersection is currently closed, so find an alternative route. And Elizabeth Grove streetlight repair works continue Main North Road near Haydown Road. Look out for a camera 2 Young Street only. Try Sportsbet's new Bet with Mates for summer racing. Start your group today. Get on the quaddy together and share the moment. It's the easiest way to group bet. Conditions apply. Gamble responsibly. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Win your slice of paradise. There's 2 Scott Salisbury homes to win in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery.
25 today, cloudy, partly cloudy tomorrow, 24, sunny and 26 on Saturday. Right now it's 18 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Hi, Daisy Pearce here. Signing up an apprentice or
trainee is easy when you partner with MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. MEGT is Australia's largest and only national apprenticeship network provider. They've been in it for the long haul since 1982 and make the whole sign-up process easy. You could even be eligible for government incentives. Team up with the best in the business. MEGT, your local apprenticeship experts. Call them now on 13 63 48 or visit meg.com.au.
If it pops, or if it twists, you'll find it at FIVEaa. If it comes in a can, or is best in a glass, you'll find it at FIVEaa. If you serve it on the rocks, or with a paper umbrella. In fact, whether it's wine, beer or spirits, whatever you fancy, you'll find it at FIVEaa. FIVEaa, your local independent SA family liquor stores.
Hi, I'm Izzy and my family runs St. Louis Home Care, which was started by my great-grandma 75 years ago. I wanted to introduce you to Deb, a carer and our receptionist. She's great.
Hi, Izzy.
Deb, you've been at St. Louis for 10 years. What do you love about it?
Oh, it's a great family-friendly environment and everyone's happy.
That's because St. Louis got them covered.
With everything from shopping and meals to gardening and home maintenance.
And don't forget the social activities. Google St. Louis Home Care to find out how my family can help take care of yours.
Whether a hobby or a full-blown dairy and livestock farm, they all have one thing in common: the need for good quality steel to keep livestock safe and secure. At Knorr Metals, we have just that. From rural fencing and gates to droppers, loading ramps and more, you'll find what you need for your farm. And if we don't, we'll source it for you quickly and at the best price. No matter what kind of farm you have, we'll help you out. At Knorr Metals, 255 Grand Junction Road, Ottawa.
Give me a head with hair. Glyderol Garage Doors, adding strength, safety and style to South Australian homes for over 40 years. Glyderol.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
12 minutes to 9. We're going to learn something about our producer Lucy in the next 5 or 6 minutes, I suspect, because she's just told us that she thinks she's been nice with today's Pick the Beatles song, and the first clue that comes out, it's a couple of seconds long.
We'll be the judge of that, thank you.
Yesterday was tough, but that wasn't a surprise to us. But I think a couple of listeners went, okay, there's a new sheriff in town on 5AA Breakfast.
Oh, yes.
Today she says she's being nice. We will find out soon enough, and you will win some tickets soon enough to Classical Mystery Tour playing at Gluttony this Adelaide Fringe. You can get tickets at Fringe Tix by searching Classical Mystery Tour or Play. Pick the Beatles with us right now by calling 8223 0055. First two callers through on the line, you will hear a couple of beats of a Beatles song. If you can pick what it is, you're off to the show. And it's not just off to the show, it's a bit more than that. You're going VIP style along with 3 friends Friday the 4th of March. It's not too far away.
We've got the Lord Mayor of Adelaide, Sandy Verschoor, who we love catching up with on the line now. Now, this is specifically in relation to the City Council's sale of the volleyball site, which I can actually, by craning my neck over Highmarsh Square, I can just make out the edge of it down the corner of Pirrie Street and Frame Street. Lord Mayor, good morning. We always love to catch up with you.
Good morning. How are you going?
We're good. Now, clearly the council has taken a huge financial whack throughout the pandemic. What would you say, though, to people who worry that, you know, this is a bit of a fire sale and that we're at risk of clogging our city up with all of these skyscrapers?
Look, this is absolutely at the other end of the scale from a fire sale. This was identified through our strategic property review, which we did over the last 2 to 3 years. And the sale, which was endorsed unanimously by council, is actually part of our strategy going forward and delivering future growth in the city. Next DC, the company that's coming in, is one of Australia's largest company, and they are sort of leading in terms of data centre solutions. And they're going to invest more than $100 million and come to Adelaide. This is going to set us up for the future, because if you think of all of the needs and all of the new jobs that are available, so once you've got a 24/7 sort of secure data centre, then you actually are setting yourself up for high tech. So all the stuff around AI and data analytics and cybersecurity and defence, and plus they've been fabulous to deal with. And the Premier has been brilliant. He and we've worked in partnership with state government on attracting, you know, a company of this scale and of this reputation to Adelaide. It's just a perfect investment for us.
What do we know about what they're going to do with the site, what the building's going to be like?
So they've got artist impressions, but now that we've finalised the sale of the site, they'll move forward very quickly with final design, which will go to SCAT for approval. And but this is exactly what we need to be doing in the city. We need to be attracting sort of the backbone of what we need for all of the high-tech industries. And it really is about the future of the city. So
do you know how big it's going to be?
I don't at this stage, no. I've only seen the artist impressions, so I'm waiting for the final design. Of course, they're not going to expend a huge amount until they had finalised the sale of the site. So,
is this the death of beach volleyball in the city?
No, we work really closely with Volleyball SA, and so we've been talking to them for a while and looking at how we transition them from that site to a new site. And we came up with 3 or 4 sites that we thought would work really well. They have chosen a site in Penberthy Park, Tulliwadley, which is sort of just down opposite near where Coca-Cola used to be, for those of you who remember Coca-Cola. And and they are really looking at also expanding what they do in terms of volleyball. So we've been working really closely with them, and we're also going to make sure that the timeframes in terms of them vacating the land works with their current volleyball season. So, they've been great to work with.
Just, I'm not trying to sound like a knocker, Sandy. I don't think anyone's going to be, mourning the loss of a volleyball court, particularly given that, as you say, Penberthy Park is going to be available as a new venue for that. But to my earlier question, do we need to make sure we get the balance right? Because I think there's some quite ugly buildings, like some of the student housing high-rises that have popped up on the western side of the city. How do we make sure that within 20 years Adelaide's not just a city of shadows, and that we've still got all of those heritage buildings being cherished?
Look, we are, as you know, Council is a staunch defender of heritage, and we've worked with state government and the Heritage Council, making sure that we got the heritage overlays and the new P&D code, which all sounds very technical until you get into sort of development. But we are also a CBD, so we need to actually make sure we're doing the right thing in terms of jobs and in terms of future industries. And, this is the beating heart of our state, and we need to make sure that economically we have the right jobs and the right creation and the right growth. So, Next DC expects at least 150 jobs to be created through this, and that's in addition to what jobs will be created through the construction. And it's also, in terms of the heritage one, I'm totally with you. I think we need to do everything we can to protect the heritage within the city, as we did with the old Sansa McDougall building in King William Street. And we worked very closely with the developer there, and we saved that fascia, which was the last Art Deco, in the city of Adelaide. So we've just... it is something we're very mindful of. We've got beautiful heritage buildings in the city. We've got some fantastic heritage developers in the city as well. So if you look at the East End or if you look at Lee Street, these are developers that understand the value of heritage and have done everything they can to protect those sites. So, it's not an either or. It's actually how you do both and how you make sure, particularly that site, that there's no heritage impacts on that site, and it's right next to a car park, and it actually makes sense. It's a stone's throw from Lot 14 and all of the development and all of the big companies that are coming into that part of the city. It's a really great outcome for us.
Lord Mayor, thanks for your time this morning. Lord Mayor Sandy Verschaw on the development there on the corner of Perry Street and Frome Street, that has been the site of the beach volleyball courts since the 90s. Let's do an instant poll, because I reckon we're less than 10 years removed from the refrain about the city of Adelaide being, there are no cranes on the skyline, nothing's getting built, city's dying.
Well, how long did we have that discussion?
We had it forever, and now it's whoa, pump the brakes. So let's do an instant poll, 8223 or text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. Are you, broadly speaking, at this particular point, with a new development now being approved for that site, are you for the development that's happening in the city, or do you think it's time that we just pump the brakes a little bit? For or against the level of development in the city at the moment? 8223 text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line. because I reckon things have changed a lot in a very short space of time.
Yeah, they have.
Let's give away some Beatles tickets. Speaking of things going on in the city, Gluttony starts tomorrow night, the Fringe, it's all happening, and that means Classical Mystery Tour will be on at Gluttony. This is an absolute treat for all Beatles fans. You can get tickets at Fringe Ticks. Just search Classical Mystery Tour. You could be like John in Woodville South or Mike, who have both called in first to contest for our Pick the Beatles game. John and Mike, good morning to you.
Oh, good morning.
Now, gentlemen, your names are your buzzers, so shout them out loud whenever you feel like you can correctly answer what Beatles song this is. We'll play a little snippet, but jump in whenever you like. Here we go.
Mike.
Yes, Mike.
I'm the Walrus.
I reckon he's got it. I reckon he's got it. I am you. Oh, really?
Oh, hang on, wrong button.
Don't do that,
Will. Whoops. Operator error. Congratulations. Tickets coming your way. Oh, that was not a good moment.
Sorry to do that to you, Mike.
Good on you, Mike. And here is it in full. And importantly, I think Lucy's been vindicated. She said it was nicer today. Got answered on the first attempt by the first group of callers through.
I reckon that was the most straightforward one we've had so far. Hey, can I just quickly read out this excellent message on the Telstra Swim Out Barker text line from Anne? She says, "Hey guys, I saw this on Twitter, re Prince Andrew, and I thought you might get a giggle at it. The grand old Duke of York, he paid 12 million quid to someone that he never met for something he never did." How good is that? Thank you, Anne. That did make us giggle.
Neat summation of the situation. Let's check traffic. A new and independent home for BMW is now open on Brighton Road. Visit Glenelg BMW today.
At Salisbury High, it's got a smash and vehicle fire to look out for on Target Hill Road near Stamford Road. That intersection is closed. Elizabeth Grove Street light repair works continue Main North Road near Haydown Road. One lane closed, speeds at 40. And Woodville Park asphalt works continue Port Road near Kilkenny Road. Cameras today, Adams Road, Craigmore, Bundy's Road, North Adelaide. There's a distracting new deal every week this month, only on the My Macca's app. Until Sunday night, you can grab a small McChicken meal and cheeseburger for $6. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Right now, SA Ambulance Service has never been busier.
000 ambulance emergency.
So I was fishing on a boat and the hook is stuck in my nose.
But every day, 000 receives more and more trivial calls,
My husband fell down and he's broken his big toe.
stopping them from getting to the real emergencies.
I've got a really bad jaw pain from brushing my teeth too hard.
For non-emergencies, visit the Health Direct website and save 000 for when it matters.
Hi ladies, Heather from Joyreen Fashions. We are now in the final stage of our summer clearance sale. There are further reductions on summer stock. This includes some half-price special occasion wear. We have some incredibly low prices that you will never see again. Casual day wear through to special occasion in sizes 10 to 24. Come in now and strike while the prices are hot at our summer clearance sale, Joyreen Fashions for mothers and daughters, 491 Port Rush Road, Glenunga.
Now, make sure you're tuned in this afternoon for the 5AA Interactive Lounge, where Jade will be speaking with David Millitz, the CEO of Carers SA.
This is going to be important stuff because many carers are unpaid and they're also unaware that they can get free support for the work they do through Carers SA. So if you're supporting a partner, a parent, a child, or a friend with a disability, mental illness, long-term health condition, dementia, an alcohol or drug dependency, or you simply have to drive them to regular medical appointments, you may be entitled to free support services.
Carers SA is the leading provider of the federal government carer getaway services. They exist to help those who help others. Find out how you can register for help. They'll be taking calls off air and answering any questions you might have about Carers SA.
That's our interactive lounge this afternoon with the excellent Jade Robrin between 2:30 and 3:30pm. The number is 8291 5600.
Hey, it's Callum here. Family safety is everything to the team at Edwardstown Mazda, especially on the roads. So if your car's due for a service or something's not quite right, take it to Edwardstown Mazda for servicing and repairs. They only use genuine parts, which is a massive plus, and they service all makes and models. It doesn't have to be a Mazda to get the Edwardstown Mazda treatment. One service centre for the whole family.
It's gotta be
Edwardstown Mazda, 862 South Road.
9 News is the one that's always been live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide for Adelaide.
Gliderroll Garage Doors' new platinum sectional doors are modern, unique and stylish. Gliderroll.com.au.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 after 9, we had the Lord Mayor on just a few moments ago to talk about the development that's been approved for what's been known for the better part of the last 30 years as the beach volleyball courts in the city, corner of Puri Street and Frome Street. And it's going to be for a big data centre, another big building. Once upon a time, we lamented the lack of building projects in the city. At the moment, though, there seems to be a bit of sentiment that things need to slow down. We put it to an instant poll. Lucy's been collating the data. What have you found out, Lucy?
It was very instant, very quick response on this one. Majority said yes, actually.
In favour of it?
In favour of the building. Not even a close margin. Had a good couple of votes ahead in favour of it. Comments such like this is a really huge development, a huge project for Adelaide, great for our city, those kinds of things. But of course the naysayers reflected what you guys did, like is it just another big company that's taking over our land space, etc.
I think
I'm in favour. I was just putting the question out there because I know it fires a lot of people up. But.
Well, it's in the central business district of Adelaide. Like, it's the heart of business. It's not as though it's been, put in the middle of Rymel Park.
My point, though, is more, it's not that I'm against new buildings. I'm against new crap buildings. And we've had a few of them. Don't you think?
Yeah, but architecture's like art for me. What's crap to one person's okay to another. I don't know if you're ever going to have a situation where you can please everyone on every project. I'd rather they be happening than not.
Yes. Hey, Kath's texted in saying that 9Go are playing Jaws tonight at 7:30. Makes the point, not sure that's the best idea.
I wonder if that'll get changed, in all seriousness. I wonder if they'll change that.
Well, I think they shouldn't they?
Yeah, it would. It appears in bad taste. I don't know how nimble you can be in reprogramming.
Not just the graphic nature of the video that's doing the rounds has been, typically on social media, totally unedited, of the poor guy being attacked yesterday. But you know what's really bad? It's the people in the video. The guy who's talking about what's happening to the bloke as he's being attacked by the shark, he's got this sort of, and maybe this is a result of the digital age, he's got this total air of detachment.
Totally.
Like he's watching it on television. He's going, oh no, look at that. Oh no.
But he manages to keep filming it the whole time.
He's standing there filming it. When you put your bloody camera down and go, mate, you all right? But the worst thing, the guy in the foreground is standing there with his fishing rod. Just standing there fishing, doesn't move, doesn't do anything. Maybe he was on. Maybe he had a flathead that he didn't want to let go of.
I reckon the bloke filming's worse than the bloke with the fishing rod. Because that was just
neither of them have covered themselves in glory.
That's just a moment, and you're miles away from it. I don't know what you can't do anything. But the filming one, I don't know. It almost feels like people now, a tragedy happens and think, I can make a few bucks out of this.
Well, you remember that's
what it feels like.
The Lint Cafe siege. There were heaps of people walking around Martin Place who started doing video selfies, standing there, and then put it up on social media. And the vacuous nature of the age that we inhabit, then putting it on Instagram or Twitter with hashtags going so sad.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah. All right, let's go behind closed doors as an antidote. Aussie Fast Transport Solutions looking for subcontract drivers right now. Call 13 13 64. That's 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed doors,
13.95, Adelaide's 5AA. This is Jade Robran.
And welcome along to the program. I hope you're well. Well, it's been about 12 hours since the major gas leak in Cumberland Park, which caused absolute chaos in that corner of Adelaide. But what happens in a situation like that? Graham Hughes is a senior officer with the MFS and his team was first on the scene. Graham, how's the clean-up going?
Well,
Well, the MFS operations are all completed and we've handed over to the gas company.
We've all played around with the gas bottle when we're trying to connect it to the barbecue, and you've got, friends coming over for a bit of a catch-up. You've got a little gas leak. Is that what the residents would have experienced, but times a million?
Well, they're close to the incident scene. We utilise our gas detection devices.
So that's like a mechanical version of your nose, yep.
And they're now in the process of trying to rectify the rupture.
So a bit like turning off the barbecue? So if there had been an explosion, would it have smelt like lamb chops or shazliks, or chicken wings?
It's all about safety, certainly safety for our crews.
Right.
We had next to no wind, which in most cases would help to assist in breaking up this cloud.
Yes, could have used a fan or a hairdryer. Look, thank you, Graham Hughes from the MFS. Let's go to Josh Zagayev, who is from SA Water. So, Josh, what's SA Water's involvement with this emergency? Was it like when you run over your garden hose with a lawnmower?
That's an activity that we leave to the experts at the MFS.
Right.
This incident happened when a contract crew that was delivering a planned water main upgrade for us, they accidentally made contact with that gas pipe.
Did anyone yell out, "Dial before you dig," and then call them Doug as a kind of joke?
Anyone that might be listening, residents, this happened and you got woke up in the middle of the night, which is quite scary.
Yes, a bit like when two cats have a fight. It wakes you up, doesn't it?
I well understand it's a very inconvenient. So.
Oh, very, like when you can't find a parking spot at the supermarket. It's just awful.
But also people that would travel along Crossroad. Traffic was, as a precaution, cut off for that section this morning. So commuters heading through that area have been inconvenienced this morning.
Yes, like when the V8 supercars were on. So if that gas pipe had been a water pipe, how many Olympic swimming pools would it have filled?
Minutes to 9. We're out of time, except for a headline.
Crovid scare. Modra and Smarty recalled for Adelaide's round 1 clash.
Be on standby.
They can still play. It'd be good to see Mods kick 6 against Freo.
Be very good. We're out of time. See you tomorrow from 6.
Feeling the burn?
Cheap as chips.
Save cash with Cheap as Chips Hot Buys. Head & Shoulders huge 620ml